think we are live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the ojnoj live stream. I hope you're all keeping well out there. Who have we got here tonight? Have we anyone watching? According to my monitor here, I have two people watching. One of them is myself because I'm monitoring myself on my phone beside me as well. So one person watching, which is a little bit tragic. But however, I'm sure a few more will pop along in the meantime. Not much happening here at the minute. I'm listening at the minute to Walked All Britain on 716 on 40 metres.
From Alpha, a very good evening to you, Martin. You know, 5 and 9. A very good evening, Mr. Nigel, lads. Thank you very much. You are a 5 and 7. Very reasonable. Okay, that's lovely. 5 by 7. Have you got all my details? They're getting quiet.
The machine here on the bench is a Yazo Frog 7000, which was the one after the Frog 7. It was their first direct digital readout radio receiver. And it was also their last one to use the Wadley Loop system. So a bit of a crossover in technologies there. Alright, come on, we've 6 people watching. Who's watching? Give us a shout out. Great signal, great conditions on the 40 metres tonight. I'm also having a little drink tonight, of course. No work tomorrow, lucky enough for me. And we got a keg of this gear out of the old Pearl and Backer. Right, good gear. Nice out of the little keg. So, we had a few nips out with last night. Well, we had a few nips out with Friday night. We had a few nips out with tonight. A few nips out with last night. So, 3 nights out. Nice out hack. Nearly finished now. I have to say that in my last community post that I stuck out there, I was very fascinated by all the stories that everyone replied with. Really great, and thank you all for replying to that. I'm going to do more of those, so if you can stick with it, because I think it's great. It makes a little community out of the whole thing. You know, everyone sort of knows a bit about one another and what have you. Now I know there's a lot of people that don't engage that way either, which is okay too if you're that way inclined. But I think it's good for me to get a feel of who's watching and where they're coming from and what they're into, so I can sort of tailor the channel to that a little bit, which obviously will make for better content going down the road. But I think it's just it's a personal thing as well, and I think that the history of electronics, one half of what you could say, oh yes, well I mean, okay, put it like this, talking shit, but put it like this. Explain the history of electronics, or the history of, radio development and television and all these things. And you could say, oh well, the Bush TV-22, it's an iconic television receiver, blah, blah, blah. You could say loads about it, right? You could talk about Marconi, you could talk about the Eddie Stone, you could talk about, let's say, iconic radios. You could talk about the Bush DAC 90, iconic radio. You could talk about all these things, and you can learn about the history of them and the intricacies of them. And that serial number 7,000 had up to 7,000 had a different knob on them to after 7,000, all this kind of stuff. But I think there's far more to the history of electronics and radio and television than just the hardware. There's the human element of it. There's the people who designed all this stuff. There's the people who put it together. There's the people who delivered it in their little vans. There's the people who worked on it, the independent TV and radio shops, and all the characters that worked in those. The people who went up ladders onto people's houses. All these things, I think, is the history, the human element that has been, for a large part, overlooked. And in many ways, it's too late to try to get that back. There's an awful lot of these people have sadly passed away, as I know myself earlier this year. And I think time is running out. And I think that an awful lot of the human element to all this needs to be recorded. Grid Runner mentions the set maker's book. I have it. I've had it for a couple of years. I was made a present of it a couple of years ago, and it is a very good book. I think it came out in 1990. I think Grima sponsored it. I'm trying to think who was the author of it. Was it Gordon Bussey? I probably wrong. I know I have it inside in the house anyway. And the set maker's book, which I could thoroughly recommend if you can get your hands on a copy, because it goes into great detail. Going back to the very early days, right up until the late 80s, early 90s when the book was written. All the different mergers and takeovers, the companies that went bust, little independent companies. There's a good bit in it about the Hacker brothers and that as well. So it's a very interesting, good, big, thick, hardback book. Well worth getting your hands on if you want to know a bit about the history. But I mean that, and probably more of this is being recorded in the UK than it has been here, because there's been a tendency in Ireland to overlook anything that didn't include speaking Gaelic or kicking a ball over a bar, which is very sad. That goes for transport heritage and our industrial heritage here, of which there was quite a lot of at one time in Ireland, but it has been totally neglected. But that's a story for another day. Roundy Mouney's on the ball. How are you, Roundy? Good to see you in the chat. Thank you for popping in. I know it was a little bit short notice on the old live stream thing. I haven't done one of these in a while. The last one I did was in the bedroom. On my office, should I say. That was a couple of weeks ago, or probably more. So I just wanted to have another go at this here. D4 Hell Funny Times is after giving me a fiver. You know, Euro 50 or about that is going to go to Mr. Google, but thank you very much, Mr. B4L Funny Times. That's class. Thank you. And what have you got here? You've got a man playing the trumpet and then a little fella playing the trumpet behind. I think you know what you're alluding to there, but I'm not going to say that. That's settled down for the minute. Myself and B4L attacked one of these big, huge cake things a while ago, and he was supposed to drink half, and he didn't. He ended up drinking it all myself. If someone would like to just give me a shout on the audio quality, I'd appreciate that, because I'm not using all the time. I use my phone for making videos, but I'm using this little webcam thing, and it has a built-in microphone, and it's good. Thanks, Roundy. That'll do. I want to use an external microphone, but the webcam that I have won't let me, and whatever. I'm not that into it, but we'll figure it out later. It was actually a little bit of last minute running around here, because I have a little small computer that I was going to use, and then it wouldn't work. And I had a smaller monitor, and then I plugged that in. I thought it was the monitor, and then I found out that it wasn't. It was the computer, and so I'm using the big computer in my bedroom with the big monitor and all. So it was a last minute fluting around involved. Who else have we got in the gaff now? We've got Codays, good man, Codays. Who else have we got? We got George Christophe. I hope you got over that COVID, all right, Georgie. Good to see you in the chat. Thanks, pal. Sounds fine. Bit tinny, but exactly like the chap in the white coat. Yeah. No, it is what it is, you know. We don't want to be making it sound too good either. Cheers, everyone. No COVID. Was it Milton Keynes rally today? Well, was there anything nice? Well, this is well I have the monitor here. I can see myself in a lot of crap in my beard. I'm still hoping to get over to the goblin, as the wife calls it. The Goblin, but I haven't actually made any arrangements yet. So she's watching this, so she's going to remind me when I go in that I need to get the finger out and book the boat, what have you, and holidays off work because I was being sick. But I really want to get over there. I want to touch base with a few people over there as well, so it'll be a bit of crack. Yeah. No, I hope to get to the Goblin. I think Mrs. Ojnoj is after starting a thing with Goblin. Has anyone called it Goblin before? She said it to me. I'm just going to refer to it as Goblin from now on. Sounds better. Where were you at the weekend, John Joe? I was at the Goblin. Alright, yeah. Say no more. Who we got hell? We got Wolf. Where? No, I'm not going to even try to pronounce your second name, Wolf. But you're in Maine, USA. Well, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Thank you very much. One of the things I don't know how many of you were here from the start, but I was just talking about when I first started about the community post I made during the week. Just asking people where they got their interest from, and what have you. And I only put up the old community post. So I have to say that the response to that community post was outstanding. And I found an awful lot of responses. Two things, very interesting and also very close to home, a lot of people. So I think a lot of us here have, in many ways, the same sort of, probably the same kind of upbringing or whatever. So we were hanging around TV shops. We were scrounging TVs and crap out of skips. We were doing all sorts of things that we shouldn't have been doing. We wouldn't be let do today with health and safety. But none of us died, and we're all here. And I would imagine that most of the people here in the chat tonight have probably done all right for themselves due to their interest, and it's probably done very well for themselves in their professional life in one way or another. But I think that early hands-on upbringing gives you a better outlook on life. And I think when challenges come along, that you're able to overcome them better, as opposed to these what I call bedroom urchins. And by that I refer to poor kids that have never done anything else, only sit in their bedroom playing on the computer. And then when they go out in the real world when they're 25 or whatever, it's which isn't good. So I talk a bit of nonsense, then I have to stop to read the chat, so you bear with me. Roundy Mooney has COVID. Oh no. Yeah, well, we both had it here about 6 weeks ago. Bloody well nearly killed, well, I'm not going to say nearly killed the two of us, because that wouldn't be right. But we were both very sick with it. For a good 10 days, really, before we properly got over it. So I don't envy you. And I wish you all the best with that, Roundy. It is a great community, be for that. Noel Conway, Noel. What you're saying is Noel, to the music industry, the famous artists whose hits depend on great session musicians whose names will never be known. You're from Galway. Yeah, very true. That is very true. An awful lot of these arseholes, it's the trumpet players and the guitar players, the bass players, the drum players, that are behind them that you never hear anything about. Look at Elvis Presley, for example. What a band he had. Roundy Mooney, I must have missed the community post. I think you're referring to Roundy. A couple of mentors along the way, all involved in the trade in one way or another. The early hobby connection led me to work in the industry. See, that's it. Yeah. And even if you didn't go into electronics for a livelihood, which I didn't, but I think just the experience, and it gives you a different outlook on life. You know, you're used to problem solving, fixing things, and when something goes wrong, you find a way around it. Probably gives you more patience as well with stuff. Most of the time, me can be lacking sometimes, but yeah, I think it's a very good interest to have, even just as a hobby. But it has led an awful lot of people into very good livelihoods as well. Old man B Farrell, he's lashing me out of here. Well, that'll go towards the keg that we're going to have the next time, you know. Let's see, Grid Runner said, I got my start taking scrap telly bits from around the back of our local radio rental shop. He was around 10. Alright. I still get excited every time I see a skipper electronics in it. Yeah, so do I. So do I. Here's your brother. Absolutely. Good man round you. I can remember you a long time ago telling me that you were building a shack, so well done. You'd be glad to have that up and running. I've been thinking here, although I don't know if it's going to happen this year now between one thing and another, but as you're aware, I'm into a bit of amateur radio as well, so I was thinking about building a separate, like a radio shack. Thinking a wooden structure, but good high walls, so you can stack stuff up. Probably 6 foot by 8 foot would be ideal. With the window in the door, so you have no wasted window space in the walls. Putting the amateur radio gear in there, and then some of the better radios all set up, all the communications receivers like this, and the Eddystone in there, and the R600. The Eddystone, all the Eddystones that I have in there, and a couple of the nicer domestic radios like the Bush BS35, and I also have a Pi PJ509, I think it is. It's the one with the RF stage as well, which is a very good performer. And have them set up in an aerial distribution system in those, and I can go in there, sit down, and twiddle around, and it'll just separate the thing a bit. So that's one thing that I'm thinking of, and it'll make up more space in here for stuff. Shed's very badly laid out, and it's just the design of the shed, and that there's not much I can do about it. I suppose way down the road, I'd probably demolish this, build up a proper block shed or whatever. Oh, by the way, here's a little question for you. We've 22 people watching here at the minute, apparently. So I have a question for you. Just a bit of fun. Can anyone tell me what this is off? It's a side light. What's it off? Right. That's the inside of it. This obviously sits on something, right? It's a side light. What's it off? Bloody rare to get as well, by the way. I was lucky enough to come across 2 of those recently or something. Or what are they off? And they're unique to what they're off. So what's the attitude to dumpster diving and recycling centre scavenging in Ireland? Mainly, well, dumpster diving, well, it depends. Like, if dumpster diving, when I think of a dumpster, I think of like we call them bins over here. How could I say? Act now and apologise later. But recycling centres depends from place to place, but the official stance will be you don't take anything out of them. If something's in a skip or a bin at the side of the road, I'll party on. That's pretty much how it is here. I think it's pretty sticky in America as well. I know someone who's living over in New Jersey, and they go in and out of their local recycling centre, but trying to get out and out of there is a no-no. No, they're not for a route master. No. Route master has a 2-inch square, I think it is. A little bit bigger with a big chrome trim around it. It's not off a bus, I'd say that. A bubble car. No, it's not. It's cast aluminium as well, by the way. It's an original one. There's reproduction ones made, but even those are hard to get now. but they're made out of, I don't know, crap tin or something. Pressed tin. Wonder how worked all Britain is going.
So yeah, well, I'm just 6 miles from Doncaster in North Wales, in the shadow, and the Regis in the Snowdonia National Park. But yep, you know,
I have to say, I'm
fantastic
surprised
toilet,
at the
5'9".
performance of this Frog 7000. It was a lot better than I thought it. Bought this a while ago. Bit of a brain fart. I don't really buy stuff anymore because it probably got too much as it is. But it was at a good price for what it is now. It's a bit cosmetically challenged. You know, the bezel is cracked. Good chunk missing out, which isn't uncommon. I also had the lid off the back of it, and it's a bit of a nightmare inside with regards to dial bulbs having been replaced and that. So it's going to need the full feckling at some stage. Now, it won't be a full restoration because you know I don't do that, but it needs to be twiddled up a bit. Sort out the dial bulbs. I've actually ordered warm white LEDs to replace the bulbs. It's very colourful set. You probably can't really see it there, but little bulbs everywhere. And it's got a proper pre-selector on it as well, so it doesn't overload. It's not as prone to overload as the R600 is with the pre-selector, which is good. Over 1,000 around 1940s. No. Well, I'll tell you, it's not off a car either. So it's not off a car and it's not off a bus. So I was actually playing with a bus engine earlier on today, which was quite interesting. That's what. No, it's not off. It's not off a velocipede of any description either. Someone in the chat was close enough for what they said, but I'm not gonna because this person's too close to home. They know. Ray Bourne, good man, Ray. How are you? I never got down with you, and I never got back onto you, but I was thinking about you, and life is gonna be hectic. I was telling you about what was gonna happen on the blower. I was on the blower today, but we'll be in touch, Ray, when things settle down. Life has been a bit upside down. But it's good to have you with me, Ray. And you know, all is game ball, Ray. All is game ball for the most part. I'm a bit, all is well. Yeah, all is well. It's good to see George is getting on well down there too. We nearly used that motorbike together as well. You're busy as well, Ray. Oh, well, that makes it. So, yeah, that's a fucking nightmare, so it is. We're getting there. I keep saying that all the time. Every time we come onto this thing and say, things are busy, but it's going to calm down in a while, but it doesn't. So I'm going to stop lying. I'm going to say things aren't going to calm down. I'm not going to get enough time to do this. Fucking. By the way, Mr. Christopher, you need to start banging out the YouTube videos. These worked all Britain fellas are going flat out all day. I can remember, I don't know how many people here in the chat are into amateur radio. As in, are you licensed? How many licensed people are there in the chat? Give us a shout if you are. I am, but I don't really. Not at the minute. I know it's not set up at the minute, but I was on 2 meters and the thing snapped in half. Good man, Barry. Barry. You see, people think that Barry's being great giving me all this money in the chat, but what he's going to do is he's going to come around tomorrow and look for a back. Sinclair C5. Sinclair C5. Oh, sorry, the side lights. No. They'll be too heavy for the Sinclair C5. Roundy past the IRTS. Still mean to take the CW and take a license out. Well, you don't need to do the CW for the license now. You can get the no, I don't have it. Something I couldn't get my head around the CW. Well, what happens is I would get up to some sort of proficiency. Never got up to just learning words off, but you get the letters pretty quick and get them in between. And then I stopped doing it, and then I'd forget, and then I'd have to go back and start again. Of course, John, my old mentor, old Tomo, he was at sea as a merchant navy officer for, I think, 8 or 9 years. And he could rattle it out off the end of the vibroplex like there was no tomorrow. And he could listen to it at probably 35, 40 words a minute. You know, he'd be tuning into the radio there, and there'd be 3 or 4 different stations over one another. And he'd be able to just pick one out and listen to it, and he'd be laughing and all, listening to the conversation between two of them. It's amazing to watch. You just want a shorter call sign. That's cheating. You know, if you do the CW, I think you have to do the CW, but you can get a silent keys call sign if they were related to you or whatever. So if I did the CW, I could go after Tomo's call sign if I wanted, just to keep it alive. But I don't know if it'll bother or not. Don't think anyone else is going to go after him. But I think you have to have some sort of a connection to the person who had the call sign in the first place. Because I know one gentleman here, he got his father's call sign, which was a one-letter call sign. So his call sign is EI letter, number letter. Sorry, EI number letter. One of the real old ones. Which sounds a bit odd on there, you know. Same thing's happening in England as well. There's a few people knocking around now with 3-digit call signs, which is a bit odd, you know, the 2RL or whatever. John Walsh has an EI call sign. Do a small bit now and again, yeah. You know what I don't like now, and I don't know how this is going to go down with some people that are into amateur radio here, but I'm not into the competitions, and I hate to hear them on the air. You know, I like, if I do go up on HF or whatever, I like to get into it either a nice sked with someone and have a good yap with them, or you know, you get 3 or 4 people in it and you have a bit of a chat. That's what I'm into. And I've had some great conversations on the radio over the years, especially 2 meters as well. But I don't know how active it is now. My 2 meter, I had a co-linear Diamond X300, and it snapped in half there lately. So I was thinking about making maybe a flower pot area. I have a bit of conduit out there that's like 3 meters long, so to make it a good job. I don't know how it would fare to the X300. The X300 wasn't bad, but I'm a little bit low lying here where I am too. Down to the south, I'm blocked by local hills. But I actually, even though I'm low lying to the coast as well, relatively speaking, I haven't got a bad take off the Wales. And I have worked a couple of well stations simplex here with just 25 watts. So it's interesting. Yeah, the hello goodbye gang. Yeah. Oh, 5 and 9. They can't hear you, but you're 5 and 9. You're our number 63, 5 and 9. Thanks for the call. Yeah, feck off. I mean, it's painting my numbers or shading in boxes when you get to that stage, isn't it? I had 7,312 contacts this weekend. I haven't seen sunlight. I haven't drank or gone to the toilet in 4 days, but it's wonderful. No, George Susavi hasn't keyed a mic in 15 years now. There's an awful lot of people who were active that have gone quiet and have no interest in going back. I know there's one prolific poster on the UK Vintage Radio Forum. David is his name. And very knowledgeable man. I think he's in his early 80s now. But he always says, anytime he comments on amateur radio, he says, I have not keyed up since 2000 or something like this, and I've no interest in, you know. Which is a little bit sad as well. Like, I wouldn't just go silent off the air and then say I'm never picking up the microphone again, because you're putting yourself into a box there, you know. George bought some coax today. What kind of coax did you buy, George? RG56, or did you flash out and get RG213? Yeah, contests are good when you're testing a new antenna, but they're yet monotonous. I find it's too easy with full legal power and my BM. Well, then you're now on RI. You want to take a leaf out of VK3YE's book and, use a picowatt or something like that to try and get out. Some of the stuff that he does is incredible. It really is. I don't know. Is there anyone here that watches him? VK3YE. LM400. Oh, I don't know what that is. Never heard of that before. LMR. I still don't know what that is. Is it thin or thick? I don't know. I'm not a coax expert, by the way. I could probably have 30 yards with here beside me. I still wouldn't know what it was. One step down from 4 feet. All right. So is that like ladder line then? Ladder line isn't coax, so it's not. Certainly interesting. Jeez, we're half an hour into this already. Pouring a drink for myself here when I'm on it. Oh, by the way, George, I was just I was cleaning out the van the other day, and of course, for those that you don't know, that I was at the NVCF. It's always the NVCF for me. Metro Tat. I think I heard someone referring to it as. George, I was cleaning out the van the other day here, and I found something under the passenger seat which you gave me. And you took a picture of it, presenting it with me to me. I think it was Cody's that gave it to me, and you took the picture. And it was a pint of Guinness that's a candle, so I still have that. We might need it this winter, so I'm going to keep it. It's good candle, you know. Things are looking bleak. Very thick, ultra low loss rated for a good 20 kilowatt. What are you like? Are you taking on Radio 4 here, or what's that? I have some lovely stuff that was given to me by a chap that worked in RTA, and it's steel coax. The outer is steel. It's convoluted. It's like a flexi pipe or whatever. And then I'm not sure what way it's spaced, but the inner connector is it's like 3/16 of an inch copper. It's lovely stuff. I have a good couple of yards away here. I haven't used it yet because when I do use it, I want to use it somewhere where I'm not going to be taking it down again. But it's really, really good stuff. The Guinness candle was Cody's, yeah. I think you took the picture. Was that right? We were just leaving at the car park. Jesus, the weather was glorious that day. I have to say, it's all the years I've been over to the MVCF, it's never rained. It's always been a blistering day. It was lovely. It was a bit dull in the morning, but I remember leaving there. It was a lovely, lovely, shiny, sunshine and evening. Sorry, George. I have to. You see, George, when you're bald and you say bald words, YouTube says you're bald. So I have to okay your comment because you used a naughty word, even though you didn't use a naughty word. Even though you were clever and used an asterisk, that still came up as a hold for review. Would you believe that? YouTube are very touchy, and yet some of the crap that you're seeing on YouTube lately, I don't know if anyone watches YouTube on their phone. They have these short videos, right? And it's just bullshit. I mean, it's bordering on soft porn, some of the stuff that they're sticking up. And yet you write the word dick with an apostrophe for the I, or an asterisk for the I, and YouTube loses its shit and it doesn't want to show it. I mean, what's gone wrong with the world? Anyway, where was I? What I'd say to you now is I would second what Rowney Mooney is saying wholeheartedly, in that I'm no amateur radio expert. I know a little bit about the theory. I went to classes with the South Dublin Radio Club, and that got the regulations and all. But the test itself isn't overly difficult, and if you just get the basics, you don't even need to know half the stuff that they teach you, and it's all tick the box stuff. I can't remember now. It's that long ago since I did it. Was it? Yeah, I think it was. It was in one sitting, but I think there was 2 papers, one on the technical and one on the operational and regulations. But there's no rocket science involved. I'm sure if you fail, you can do it again. I can't remember how much it was. It might have been 70 quid at the time to sit the exam. But you do it depending on what part of the country you're in. If you're in my end of the country, you do it in the Comrade offices. But they also hold them in a couple of school halls or whatever around the country and all the same day. I often wonder how many of the people that actually take the exam get the licence. I'd say there's an awful lot of people that just lose interest before they don't even bother getting the licence. I know I didn't bother getting the licence, applying for the licence for nearly a year after I actually got the exam. Cody is just email. You just emailed me. Okay. We'll have a look at that. You emailed me with an email, so that'll come up at ojnoj.com or whatever it is. We'll have a look at that. I'll get back to you afterwards, if I'm not too crooked. Who has to get up for work in the morning? We don't. No, there's no time limit on taking out the exam, because the cert you get when you pass the exam is called the HARIC. What's it called? The HARIC, Harmonised Amateur Radio European Community. Is that what it stands for? Something like that. But that's just the cert to say that you have attained the standards of knowledge to hold an amateur radio, to apply for an amateur radio license, and you can use that cert anywhere. I think it'll work in North America or Europe, Australia, some other countries, that you can just go into their local radio regulations board and go, I have this, I want an amateur radio license, and they'll give it to you. And then they'll ask you for money, of course. Oh, good man, yes. Good man. The picture, yeah. No, I'd like to see that picture, actually, because I didn't see it. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of you chaps are on Facebook forums and shit like that. I'm not on any. I don't do Facebook at all. I did set up a Facebook thing for the channel at the start, but I have this thing about Facebook. It makes me fucking sick. Any country that's affiliated, I think, yeah, that's it. Yeah, there's loads of them. I had a list of them, but that's it. Once you get that HARIC cert, you can party on. It doesn't run out. That lasts forever. I think you can use that for other stuff as well. Actually, I don't think it's not just for. I think it's recognised as an actual qualification to a certain degree. Pity we can't share pics. Actually, it would be good if we could share pics in the chat. That would be interesting. But then I can understand why YouTube wouldn't go down that road. Because not everyone on YouTube is as user friendly as us nice bunch of people here. Did anyone else see me community post last week and not comment? Because if you did, you're a bad person. No, there was an awful large response to that, and it was very interesting to read all the stories that people had about their early experiences in this crap as well. And we're all of a certain ilk. You're a bad person. You seen it and you didn't comment. Oh. I'll have to set up a TikTok, John Joe. I'm sick of watching TikTok on YouTube. That's all them YouTube shorts are. Is TikToks that people are sticking on YouTube and as YouTube shorts. Unfortunately, we haven't got a big pair of knockers to shake at the camera, so we're out of luck, lads. I don't think. I was gonna actually give the YouTube shorts videos a go, but because that seems to be where that's happening. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Facebook too. Are they? Yeah, as I say, I don't do Facebook. I did years ago, which I'm probably missing out not doing the Facebook because there's what you call it, there's Facebook Marketplace and all, and I'm convinced that there's interesting things that come up for sale there that I know nothing about. I've always done adverts and done there, but as my Irish viewers will know, that both of those have gone completely shit in the last couple of years. These are two Irish selling websites, and one bought out the other. I don't know which was which, but they're absolutely useless. They're glitchy now. They don't even work right or nothing. And nobody seems to be selling stuff on them anymore. Every now and then I put the odd bit of stuff up for sale, but nothing's moving now like it would have been. Whereas I think that Facebook Marketplace is where all that shit is at, you know. What do you think, Roundy, on that? Would you agree with me? Yeah, I know there's some good groups on Facebook, or I do know I'm kind of missing out by not interacting. To a point, but then sure, what do we do without Facebook, you know? You agree with me, yeah? No, it's crap. It is crap. Roundy, I don't mean to be nosy or anything, but I was rooting around on the internet there a while ago, and the crowd that own adverts is boards.ie, or they're certainly affiliated. I think they're owned by the one crowd. And your name came up in the radio section or whatever, so I see you were into that at one stage as well, unless it was a different Roundy Mooney, of course, as well, which it could have been. The Crackle. Haven't had a notification for months. The last one was the SigGen. That on Facebook. Um, SB, sorry, I missed that comment as well. So SB, I got my ham radio license almost 3 years ago, and I've been on air twice. I just find many of the other license holders are snobs, and look down their noses at newbies who aren't using Icon Miezo. Yeah, funny enough now, I've met a couple of people, and I suppose one of the things I would have sort of took a slight interest in would have been QRP stuff, low power, because I don't see the point in blasting out 100 watts in HF. You do the same thing with 5 or 10. And everyone that I said it to, well, I'm not going to say everyone, but all the people say, no, you need to have the latest black box from Yaesu or Icon, the Icon 73 million and one and all this, you know. It's not in the spirit of the thing, is it really? Frosty Gaming has entered the chat. How are you, Frosty? Oh, YouTube. Oh, sorry, you haven't got a notification about one of my videos in months. Oh, that's very strange. Although I believe it's happening. And I believe something else has happened that I've been informed of by a couple of people is that YouTube is knocking off their subscriptions. So, say you were subscribed to ojnoj, which you should be. If you don't watch me videos for a while or something, they'll just unsubscribe you automatically, which is a bit nasty. Thanks, Frosty. Good man. Yeah, check that your notifications are set up. You need to. A lot of YouTubers say this all the time, you know. As soon as they start the video, there you go. Hi, and welcome back to ojnoj. By the way, if you want to see more of my great content, you need to click the subscribe button down here on the bell icon up here, so you get all the notifications when I make a video. I don't really say that too often. I probably should, because one of the things I've been told is that if you use the word subscribe many times in your video, YouTube algorithm picks that up and spits it out more. I don't know if that's true or not, but I have heard it. Although I haven't actually noticed when I did say that a couple of times in videos, not to that extent, but I'd say, subscribe if you're. Those videos have actually been more popular, but they've been around the same amount of shit, that I do. Just unsubscribed and resubscribed. Good man, well that might do the trick. Yeah, as George says, it's not about what gear you use. All this black box. I knew a chap here a while ago who was. He sort of took a fleeting interest in vintage radio and that, but he was mad into these Icon black boxes and that. I don't know. He came here one day. I was setting him a few valves, and he looked at my gear. I have an Icon IC735, which is it's 25 years old or whatever. To me, it's like a rocket ship, And he just went, "Oh, you're using one of them old rigs, like it was a piece of shit that was after finding in a skip, yeah, does the trick. Oh, they don't sound quite that good on SSB. Here's another ilk that I can't wrap my head around, is the people who talk about hi-fi SSB. This is a thing, apparently, is high fidelity single sideband radio. If you're not concerned about your audio quality, why don't you just switch it over to AM or FM if you're up that high? I don't know. The cracker got round to reactivating his license this week. Hi-fi SSB. No, I'm bloody serious. This is true. I know a couple of people that talk about it. Radio Cruncher is here as well. Good to see you live. What's new? There's a lot of feck all new radio, Mr. Cruncher. How's all with you in the wonderful world of fixing radios? I do look in at time to time. I rarely get to actually watch you live because it'll be working on Sundays, but I do glance. I don't watch all 4.5 or 5 hours, but you do some lovely work with them hacker radios and that. Anyone that's in the chat probably already knows who you are, but if you don't, check out Radio Cruncher. He's also tied in with an Australian, but we won't hold that against him. Oh yeah, I was listening to Medium Wave this afternoon, ojnoj, and there was tons of stations that came through. You obviously have a very good aerial, Frosty, and that's one of the things that bugs me, and I've said this loads of times before, is that people who have radio, that are into radios, there's radio collectors who will say on the forums or whatever, there's hardly any point doing up a radio now. What's the point? There's nothing to listen to. Well, alright, it's night time here now. It's dark. We're after dark, but and I've loads of electronic shit on here as well, so this will prove a point even more. And this is a slightly more tastier radio than you would usually say. But let's just, for the crack, right? Frog 7000. That's the Work Dog Great Britain. Let's just go down the medium wave for the crack. Selector. Pico.
Új szakaszakövekére. Most kifejthették azt a tervet, amely szinte a tett kidolgozásának pillanatában megszületett mindkettőjükben. Hogy másságban.
I can't bring the camera in. It's not the same as on the phone. But
egymásra a bűn nagyobb.
you don't know if you can read that off. That's
A
fine.
sofőr brutális
Let's see if we can get it in. There's Caroline.
Was liberated by the Allies on the 4th of June 1944.
4-7.
Palmeiras, en la arena de Paisada, la madrugada del miércoles.
Radio Scotland, they 10. 20 over 9. I don't know how these stations are, there's plenty to listen to. 9, 10, 5 live. Bit of a whistle on it because of the IF on this, but we'll forgive it. Let's go up one. That's weird. It's gone all decent all of a sudden. That's bad. I know it's a bit twitchy. Goes in 40 and 40. I'm not in Dublin, by the way. Let's see if any of our Dutch friends are on tonight, actually. 50, 1655. There was one pirate Dutch fella last night blasting out really strong signal on 1730 kilohertz. No, Frosty, but I can pick up a few Indian and Asian team stations from the UK, alright. Energy. Is this the same energy that used to be on 1395? Why have energy moved from 1395 to 1440? Anyway, never mind that. The point is, there's loads of shit to listen to on medium wave if you have a proper aerial setup. I repaired for someone here, and I don't really do repairs for other people, but I repaired and I made videos about it. The Bush BS35 here a couple of weeks ago. And when the chap came to see it, I had explained to him that, you need to have proper aerial setup, and you'll hear loads. You need to have... What I have found, my personal experience with valve radios is, you have to have a proper RF ground. Without that, you're pissing in the wind, right? You have that, that's half your battle. If you can even get just 20 foot of wire up in the clear, but the RF ground is essential. Problems with the Dutch. Alright, no, I have heard Dutch people on that now and again, but generally it's a clear channel. During the day in Dublin, of course, so the Dutch wouldn't be a problem. But interesting. Very interesting. Now, because I've been listening out for energy on 1395 over the last, it's moved from the last, 4 months or more. So I was wondering if they had given up altogether or not, but it's good to hear that they're still at it. So they're on 1440. So I'll remember that. Let's go back to them for a second. For those of you who don't know, that energy Power AM is a pirate station in Dublin. It's a bit noisier than you usually would be here because of all the electrical crap on the computer and that. And I'm not quite in Dublin either. 40 years ago, we used to be on 69963. All right. Very good. Very good. Someone who's been in touch with me recently who was heavily involved in all that kind of nonsense lately, and I'm going to see if I can twist an interview out. But we'll talk about that in more detail down the road. Sorry, yeah, no Radio Hunter. It is. I should have said because you weren't in the chat from the start. It is a Frog 7000. It's a bit ganky. I picked it up at a reasonable price. Probably because of the cult status of the thing. A little bit more than what it's really worth, but for what it is, a lot less than it usually would be. So I paid €70 for it, and I've been watching a few of them on eBay going for mad money. It's not too bad. The on-off switch has lost the lever, and there's a decent chunk got out of the bezel, but neither of those bother me. However, I have had it open, and the way the dial lights have been replaced is a bloody fire hazard, to be honest. I really shouldn't be running it the way it is. But I've ordered a set of warm white LEDs, so that's a job that I'm going to do on it. But I'm actually surprised by the performance of this radio, and it gives the Kenwood R600 a little run in not in terms of gain or overall sensitivity. I think that the R600 probably is just a little bit more sensitive. It certainly isn't the spec sheet anyway, but for image rejection, and I found that the R600 overloads something fierce in a long wire, especially as I'm only 20 miles away from the RTE long wave transmitter. Bloody gets into it everywhere in the front, just leaks in past the front end. This doesn't bother in the slightest, but it is a very sensitive radio. I think the tone is also far nicer out of this as well, the audio quality. Never had a 4.7. Attacking the wagon now. I never had a Frog 7 to compare, but I believe they're fairly good as well. But I like the handiness of the digital readout display, and it's kind of a quirky crossover thing, in that it's Yaeso's last Wadley loop radio, but also their first with a direct digital readout, so it's interesting. Jesus. George Donaldson is in the chat. Good man, George. How are you? George? Gentlemen. Good man, George. Good to see you. Good to see you getting on with that bike as well. I want to see you fucking getting the knee down the road outside here someday. You reread the sound as well, John. Yeah, no, it sounds good. I would leave it playing away loud, but music and YouTube is a bit of an issue lately. But they're sounding well. I did actually send an email to Energy once a couple of years ago just to tell them give them a reception report. And I asked them for some technical details. Now, they didn't go in depth, but I can understand why. But they said they were doing about 250 watts into 150 foot wire. And I have a rough idea where they are because I did a little bit of direction finding, but I'm not going to say, other than they're in South Dublin. Hold on, we get George going again here. Now, here's the thing now with YouTube. Here, I was just talking about this, George, a while ago before you entered the chat, so I'll tell you how finicky YouTube is. So, your comment has been held for review because you spelled the word fuck, and you even went to the effort of spelling it without the C, but YouTube still put it up. But you look at these shorts that they have on YouTube now, and some of them are like soft porn. Like, it's just ridiculous. What's acceptable and what's not acceptable in the world. Honest to God, George. I think my little keg is starting to run out. I'll have to get in 3 days out. I don't know. Looking at the line of condensation, I think we've got another half gallon to go. YouTube are hot. Well, you know more than anyone else, Radio Cruncher, because you're doing it every Sunday. George, you should do a live stream more often, actually. I think you should sit in front of the camera and do a bit of this, because it's a bit of crack. It's a bit of crack. And I know there's a lot of people that watch you would enjoy having that one-to-one with you. And I find it works out quite well. B4L is in the chat again. B4L is a close person in my life, I'll just say. How to describe a fucking nuisance. And he's going to want all this money back tomorrow, so I know what he's at. Now, roundy mounty, the usual trick is to use a V. Let's see if this gets through. Well, I can inform you, roundy mounty. I fucking didn't. Oh, yeah, I wonder will they okay your comment as well. You know, I watch there's these videos that YouTube put out, and I'm subscribed to them. They come out every Thursday, I think it is. I can't remember what they call themselves. A shower of arseholes, really. But no, Bally's flew through. You see, they're Yanks. They don't understand what that means. Remember, Colin Meaney got to say bollocks live in Star Trek. He said something about the transporter was acting the bollocks or something. And when they were recording, they were like, yeah, what does that mean? So that's just something an Irish person would say, you know? And it actually went out on CBS, you know? Wonderful stuff. You wouldn't believe what I just had to go through to get the chat working. Had to sign in on Firefox. Chrome said no. Create a review. That's right, George. Sorry. Yeah, right. But anyway, the point I was getting at, I was watching a create a review video a couple of weeks ago, or months ago now. I haven't watched on in a while, but I used to watch them fastidiously at one time. But they were saying that we're going to relax, you know, the use of language or whatever. So you can say, because I set my channel not made for kids, which obviously no children are going to be interested in looking at a lot of farts talking about broken televisions or whatever. So that's, you know, and I don't make content for children. And although I do, in fairness to me, I try to keep it, you know, I don't lose the running myself with my language or whatever. Because I know there could be people with their kids watching. So, but, you know, bollocks and fuck. But they said they were easing up on that. But then you see this thing where it's holding up comments that say, you know, and even though the people are trying to be clever about how they're writing it, it's interesting when you look at the YouTube Shorts thing, and the guidelines for that is, you know, well, if it was swimwear that a woman would wear or similar, well then it's okay. I'm sure that the door is wide open then to all sorts of crap, which we're seeing, you know. But it's just interesting. As George, I was down with George Donaldson a while ago, probably 6 months ago now, George, is it? And we had a chat, and we were talking about the album with the motorbikes, with the bangers. I don't know if anyone's come across her. I haven't seen her in a while, actually. Exactly, Peter. You're dead right. It's all. We used to call it garage talk, you know. Everyone uses bad language, you know. Give us the hammer or whatever, you know. Oh, she got in trouble, did she? I haven't seen her in ages. Yeah, there was this album on YouTube, you know, motorbikes. What was she called, George? Scunthorpe used to throw up flags with a load of chat around. Well, Scunthorpe should throw up a load of flags, in fairness. I was there once. interesting place. Scunthorpe. I knew a fella called Biff from Scunthorpe. Biker stuff, that's right. Did anyone else see her? She was this old biddy, I think she was in porn in the 80s. But she was an English born. Now, she's probably a nice lady or whatever, not gonna, she probably, but she was into motorbikes and that kind of crack. But she used to wear like dungarees things, with no bra or that. So her ditties would be hanging out and all. And then she'd be doing like these, she'd be sponsored, like, did you see the new Lenser flashlight LED? And knockers hanging out and all. That's God love her, she's in her 60s, like, Of course, the old boys love all that, don't you, boys? Let's see. There's more messages being held for review. Colin Old said TikTok is soft porn for kids. Ooh. Alright, porn for kids is going to throw up a red flag there. No, I'm not going to okay that, just in case the whole chat gets taken over. But I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. George Johnson used the word porn and it was held for review. I'm not going to put that up either, George. You're a bad man for writing bad words. She used to do Lorne, apparently. Yeah, funny enough you can say that. You can say that. Yeah. She was probably a goer back in 1983 or whatever, she was probably a bit of stuff, when, trucks at Leyland 680 power pluses in them and that, and life was good and you could have 8 points and get into your Mark II Cortina and there wasn't an issue, Those two Avos should make awesome VUs on a retro. Those two Avos would make awesome VUs on a retro Wi-Fi system. Peter, that's sacrilege talk. Yeah, right though, they probably would. What do you think of me little red light? If it doesn't look red here because it's under the fluorescent. However, let's turn off the bench light. What do you think of that? This was given to me. We're clearing out the old mentor's house at the minute and we're busy. But this is one of the things we found, and it's a dark light, a dark room light for doing film development. But the plastic gives it a lovely colour. I actually put an LED filament light into it because with the 15 watt bulb that was getting into it was getting scalding hot. So but I just think that the shade of red that's off it looks lovely, So get a bit of crack out with that. Is that your on-air light? Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking about when I seen the red light there. But then I noticed on the camera that it doesn't actually really look red. The camera isn't wonderful, to be fair. Now it's a cheap. I got the camera, I got the webcam, a headset, wireless keyboard, and wireless mouse in Tesco, and I think they were 20 quid. So I mean, we can't fall out either. I had to do an online interview with Microsoft Teams, and it was the first time we ever did such a thing. So I needed a webcam there a couple of months ago. Thanks, Roundy. Yeah, it's not too bad, yeah. What I would love, though, is if there was a way to plug the phone into the computer and use the phone just as a camera. Because the phone has an incredible camera on it. It's very good. It's a Samsung S21 Ultra 5G. It was stated range until they brought out the S22. Although the S22, funny enough, for anyone that's into smartphones, uses the exact same camera mechanism and setup. So it can't be that much better. I think they're doing something with the software. You can stream direct from your phone. I know that, Radio Cruncher, but I have internet connectivity issues in the shed. So that's why I have the computer here with a wire coming out of the router box in the gaff. We tried that a couple of times in the live streams here and it was a fucking disaster. As Roundy Mooney will tell, because he was there for the first one, and if it wasn't for him, no one would have known. The thing crashed just as it went live, And then I set up another live, and Roundy, in fairness to him, he went back to the original chat, told everyone that I was overheard and whatever. I won't forget you for that, Roundy. You're a gentleman, and that's got it. You still have a couple of days lights from your college days, Roundy. Good man. Yeah, no, that lamp will be ideal for a dark room where you develop your own. Yeah, that's what it was for. That's exactly what it was for. Yeah, George, I think you need to. You know what I want to see from you, George? I want to see you in front of the camera more often because I think you're a very interesting person, right? I think you're a gas man, and I think you would be able to talk shite for hours and hours more than I can here. Although I must say, I love doing these live streams. I don't want to start doing them too often because I think you run out of things to say, and then you start talking shite. But I think, of course, the live stream and the chat, it's you that keeps it going. But it's quite a bit of crack. What's in the spray bottle behind you? IPA? No, drink IPA. What's in the spray bottle behind me? The spray bottle behind me has a 1 part fairly washing up liquid, 100 parts water is what's in that. And another thing that I use quite liberally is TFR. Anyone who doesn't know what TFR is, it's traffic film remover. And if you go to any of your local auto factors or car cleaning chemical places, you will find TFR. And it comes in a 20-litre drum, and you can mix it to, say, 1 in 10 for cleaning engines and stuff, brake parts, and it's wonderful stuff. But for this kind of shit, if you mix it about 150 to 1 for cleaning, tobacco smoke off radio cabinets and that, it's absolutely wonderful. And of course, if you buy a 20-litre drum and you're not running a truck garage, it's going to last you a very long time. It's about 50 quid. Now, I have isopropyl alcohol here, but nothing to spray it over. Well, IPA is also known as India Pale Ale. Roundy. Come on. How am I looking in this subdued light? I have a very queer green 25 watt bulb here. On the ceiling, I have the LEDs. I have quite a bit of light. The old mentor John always said, you need to have good light. And his workshop, in fairness to him, was lit up like Las Vegas with fluorescent lights in the ceiling. His eyesight wasn't that great either, close up. But so we've the LEDs. It's overpoweringly bright. And then the light in here for doing the old circuit board work. But of course the LEDs interfere with the radio when it's on. So I put up this down for here for an incandescent bulb. So I can stick 100 watt in here if I want. I actually have a nice glass 1970s shade here on this as well, which you can't really make out. I wonder if I do this, will you be able to see it? Yeah, you see that? Very, very snazzy. But of course, the incandescent bulb doesn't cause any interference with the radio. So usually, when you listen to you see my radio videos, I'm in the dark like this, so there's no interference. The only problem is that my neighbour next door has built a little outdoor bar / man cave, and he has televisions and shit going there, and he's causing me a bit of interference at the minute. So even when I turn everything off here, that's why I've built me little Radio Shack other side of the garden, and I'm going to do loads of this in the R600 and all. And of course, the IC735 will run off 12 volt supply. So I'm going to build in a 12 volt supply so I can actually, for listening, I can kill the mains to the shed altogether and just go on 12 volts. So that's my plan anyway. Keep the no ice in the beer. Hold on, man. Ice or no ice? No ice in the beer, but I have seen people putting ice in Carlsberg years ago with a slice of lemon, which was a bit weird. Absolutely no. And the thing is, in the chat on the side, not only can you talk to me and interact with me, but you can interact with one another as well. In the video earlier on I made, it wasn't a wonderful video now to be fair, but I was talking about the frame aerial. I don't know how many people have seen the frame aerial video. But I mentioned Trev. And Trev has a wonderful YouTube channel. He's a commenter on, he's known as Murphy V310 on the UK VRR, Galborn and Vera. He has a YouTube channel. He's called Trev on the YouTube channel. Very good videos. Very knowledgeable man, and I would recommend anyone to go and watch some of his videos. He's doing a lot of quirky stuff with Russian rod pentode valves. He's doing 405 line conversion using the Linux thing. A little bit over my head, and he's just a fascinating character. So if you'd go and give him a look at, I'd appreciate it. Ice and cider works, but not in. You know what? I don't like ice and cider either. Funny enough. I like cold cider, but I think the ice, I don't know, it numbs my moustache. Do old school fluorescence cause much interference? No, not particularly. I've noticed that. So, in here, that's an old school fluorescent. Well, old school to a point, but it's the old type. And I actually have, just because I'm a quirky old fucker, I have a T12 tube in it. I think it's a 4-foot T12. And it doesn't cause too much interference at all. These LED things with their switch mode power supplies, excellent light, and of course they last for nearly ever. I've picked a few of them up free. I made a video up of one of them, repairing them. The caps go on the little power supply. The LEDs don't wear out, of course. Well, they do, but after a cajillion hours. But but they're very noisy. And also, I have a T5 electronic ballast in the front of the shed, and the noise off that is incredible on the radio. I could probably, let's see. Something else is annoying. Noise and somewhere. Anyway, there's a spot where there's no noise. I will turn on the light in the front. Oh. That's weird. It's making a lawyer now. Well, it's usually noisy. I don't know. Maybe this radio is grounded so well it's not being noisy. Where all that noise is coming from? We were listening quite happily to Energy a while ago. It's really noisy. This is the red light. No, it's not the red light. I don't think so. But the red light's been on all night, so it was on. There's something though. I moved something and it stopped. I wonder was it actually arcing in that socket? Could have been. I never actually checked the plug on it. I think it was arcing. Plug. Maybe. Don't know what it was. Anyway, it stopped. Alright, we'll go with that. wonder if we hear the noise in the front now. That is weird. Well, I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna give up. Right. Frighten the grandma. There's a grandma running around under this bloody bench, that's for sure. Anyway, energy's coming in quite well. I know Radio Puncher fixes radios for people. Do you find the same thing? We have to explain to people that they need to have a proper area to listen to stuff. Now, I know you do mostly transistor radios, so it wouldn't be as much of a thing in your case because there are ferry rods in them. But that is one thing that kind of bugs me when people say there's nothing to listen to. Because as we can hear, there's loads to listen to still. Now, whether it's interesting or not is another thing. But there is plenty to listen to on the radio. Pouring a beer for myself. No, I have to say these Parlin Backer kegs are a bit of crack. And it's actually very nice stuff. You have an air rod outside and a long wire for listening. And of course, if you have probably found yourself, Graham, that if you disconnect your earth when you're listening to the radio, that there's a massive degradation in received quality. I certainly have heard anyway. Because you often hear a lot of people saying, you don't need the earth rod, just stick the aerial in. Well, it's two halves, isn't it? Because, it makes up a capacitor, doesn't it? The ground underneath and the long wire going along. Indeed, it is. It is essential. It's very hard to explain this to people that don't understand, though. Although the chap, that's why you've, on the odd occasion, like the chap, the BS35, I brought him in here and I let him hear the radio working here beside my own BS35, which he had actually outperformed. And he was blown away with all the stuff he was getting on shortwave and all, they're really hot radio. I know they didn't have them in the UK, so you wouldn't know. But the BS35, even though the circuit design was a little bit penny pinching with they have a mains transformer, but there's series valves and weird quirky things about them. But they really do perform very, very well. And he was blown away. But that's the thing, if you didn't say that, you just gave him the radio back, he'd go home, stick 2-foot of wire in the back of it, and then he'd be ringing you saying you're a flanker and your radio doesn't work. I'm glad to hear you've more areas going up soon. Yeah, my garden here is about a quarter of an acre, and a little bit of space now. The only thing is I am interfered with by neighbours either side. I know they're noisy, so you're trying to run the aerials away from them. But I'm always messing about with bits of wire and that to see what I can do. For the amateur radio, I have an 80 metre doublet, and the ATU then can bang it up anywhere I need to go above that, which is quite good. Works relatively well. I'm not overly happy with it. It needs to be up higher at the centre. It's kind of low to it's about 15 foot off the ground all round, which really isn't high enough. I can't go off the house. The house is a bungalow, so it's low anyway. And then there's power lines that go across the garden, so can't go under them or above them. Even if I could, I'd probably pick up a load of noise off them. So I kind of want to try and stay away from them. So it's a little bit of a nuisance. Moundy has a separate RF earth mat installed in the garden. With many years, it finally got used now. Alright. You have a large inverted V. I'd like an inverted V, but the only way I'd be able to do it is if I build a tower And then that could cause issues as well. But we might just do it anyway eventually. How tall is it? Do you have a tower or is it a vertical off the house, Graham? 12-metre mast. Oh, lovely. Yeah, no, I could go in for a bit of that, alright. Yeah, absolutely. That's nice. Well, I hope you get well enough to finish it off soon. I think you had the COVID as well, didn't you? Have you found, and George as well, and Roundy, of course, is going through it at the minute. I found that my breathing didn't get right after the COVID for about, well, let's see, I said it was 6 weeks ago, but it's longer than that. It's probably 8 or 10 weeks ago now. And I think I went around for about 6 weeks feeling like someone was sitting on my chest. It's unbelievable. I couldn't believe that the fact that I went through the whole thing for so long and didn't get it, and then we get it at this stage. But of course, it could have been a lot worse if we weren't vaccinated and all, I suppose, so it wasn't so bad. But the two of us were wiped out with it at the exact same time, which wasn't ideal. Right, lads, I'll be back in a second. I need to go into the house and do something very important, okay? So let's just chat among yourselves and I'll be back to you in a minute. Of course, I brought out the famous candle. Now, where are we? Yeah, something like that, Roundy. Absolutely. Well, Graham, I hope you get over it soon enough. It's a bloody mess. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. It was... And I was gassed that myself and the wife, we both got it at the same time. And I wiped the two of us out. Peter's Ice, years of CBing, I paid no attention to SWR. No, banging up the area. Till I got a DV27 and made a huge ground plane and got SWR 1-to-1. Then I was blown out to Blackpool from where I am on the world. Yeah, I actually thought the roof of this shed is stale. So the shed's 10 foot by 20 foot, wooden sort of garden shed type thing. It was something we bought because I wouldn't have bought a shed ordinarily, but we were short on time and we needed the space for all my shit. And that's so we bought this thing and we paid too much for it and it's not great. But it's here for years now. And we drown it in creosote twice a year just to try and keep it alive. But the roof is stale, pitched at probably 30 degrees. And I was thinking if I stuck up an L 8 foot 6 inches or whatever it is in the middle of it, it might make a wonderful ground plane for the CB area. Thought it was a flashlight. What? Three of us escaped. This time it's yourself and the eldest daughter, now youngest daughter, who's escaped it so far, is nervous. That's the gas thing. What I can't understand is how one person get it in the household and 3 or 4 others are around them and they don't get it. It doesn't make sense for me. Anyway, not to worry. That's COVID. We don't really. It's something actually. You know what? I've never mentioned COVID on this channel up until now. I've always made a conscientious point of not bringing it up throughout the whole pandemic and all that shit. I always said, you know, a lot of people said, COVID lockdown, we'll make a video. I said, no. I'd make it one thing where someone can watch a video of mine for 5 or 10 minutes and not hear that word and not hear about it. So I'd always say, oh, look, this is some stupid radio after phone. Oh, look, it's still broken. But at least, you know, because I think people needed that. But of course, now we're fucking out the far end with somewhere. Away from it a little bit. Don't Google it at work. Don't Google it at all. Jesus. Flashlight. I remember there's about flashlight wrongs on AliExpress and things made out of silicone and shit. Ah, Jesus, man. Audio Al is in the chat. How's it going, Audio Al? Great to see me doing a live chat. Yeah, it's great to see you watching me doing a live chat. Thank you, Audio Al. Gent, scholar. Tell me this. Anyone working on any vintage radio projects at the minute? I'm going to exclude Radio Cruncher because I know you're always up to your eyes on vintage radio nonsense. I'm not doing much here at the minute. I know I put a couple of videos out about that Pi 697 chassis Dynatron CTV 16, which had the neck knocked off it by some very unfriendly person. Those videos were actually made a while ago. And there's one more to go up, but I haven't got any further with it. But they are a very good television when they're working correctly, when they're set up right. The busiest thing I've been at in the last couple of months is I have the 20-foot shipping container on the far side of the garden, which I was using for storage. I was looking for Dexia and racking for a long time for it, but I couldn't find any at a reasonable price. Bloody twice the price that I paid for the container. So I bought a load of 2x4s and 3/8 plywood, and I made my own racking. And it's worked out very well. And it's giving me a little bit more space. I probably have what they call a bit of supernumeraries in the collection. In that there's televisions here that I have 2 or 3 of the same, which I need to tin out. I have 2, 3, 4 Bush A823s. I probably don't need 4 Bush AA23s. I have 2 Dynatron Pi 697s, and then a Pi CT205. I have 3 Thorn 3500s. I have an ITTCVC7 or 9 ITTCVC 9. I have, what else have I got? I've got a lot of televisions. No, I have a lot. Then I've got black and white televisions. I've got 5 A640s or TV 161s. We've got a Pi 368. We've got a Pi 169. What is it called? Now these are only televisions. This is before I get into radios. Like of 4 Selena Vegas B216s. Space is a big issue. Yeah, no. What I need to do is I need to sell off a little bit of stuff. I need to just make it a little bit of space, and I have some stuff that people would be interested in. A lot of stuff people wouldn't be interested in, but I have a couple of little bits and pieces here that people probably would be interested in. Which there's stuff here that I'm never going to get around to doing or whatever. I suppose when I first started on this journey, I always liked the idea of setting up a museum. And I have been in touch, just for the Irish viewers that are watching, I have been in touch with various local councils and that in Ireland about setting up a museum, and I have this collection or whatever. And for all the emails I sent, I never got at least as much as one reply, and they were worded quite nicely. I needn't tell you, but it's just there's no interest here in this kind of thing. We have the Hurdy Hurdy Radio Museum up in Hout, which was the late Pat Herbert. Lovely man. You dealt with him many times over the years, and he was a true gentleman. And he's a true passion for it. And I would say he was more into what I was talking about at the start of the live stream with regard to the human aspect of the history of radio. As opposed to, this is a Frog 7000, that's a Bush BS35, that's a Pi PJ 509 or whatever. He was into the human element of it as well, which is very important, I believe, to preserve. But so they have him in the Martello Tower in Hout, and it's small or whatever. But as far as anyone's concerned is, they will say, well, it's already been done, it's over there. But I think there's an awful lot more in this as well to be shown and whatever. And I think there's the skills and everything else that should be passed on. We see it with the vintage vehicle community, especially in the UK, where now they're starting to set up an apprenticeship scheme for apprentice mechanics who only specialise in vintage vehicles. Wouldn't it be wonderful if there was something similar in the electronics industry, where you had I'm an electronic tech, but I specialise in, and that's a livelihood for them. And there probably is enough work out there for them. But it's sad to see where the attitude here in Ireland anyway. George Donaldson has sent a few pictures to me on WhatsApp. He has. We'll look at them later. Thank you. Who else is on to me? Space is a big issue. Mike Gardner. Welcome into the chat, Mike. He's working on a Bush VHF 72 and a Hammerland RGB. I don't know about I've come across Hammerland radios. I know a couple of people who have them. Never had one in here on the bench. I don't know what an RGB is, but I know Hammerland make very nice stuff. Can you tell me who? Audio Al asked me Can you tell me who can do reproductive diet last for an upright GEC radio? I don't, audio all. There is a couple of people on the UK Vintage Radio Forum who can do it. Has been done before, but what you need to do is you need to find someone with the same radio as you to scan the diet last. I sent a scan of a diet last to George Christophe for a radio a couple of months ago. I don't know if he got around to doing it yet or not, but he has the software to do it. But there's a lot of work involved in it too. But the first thing you need to do is find someone else with a diet glass, the same as yours, and then go from there. I had a Rediffusion Mark IV as my daily driver up to 99. Good man. I'd say that was in fine fettle when you retired. Yeah, it was the Hurdy Gurdy Radio Museum, and yes, it is a shame that this is the mindset that you meet. Because, alright, you have the Radio Museum in Hout. I know there's a few privately owned radio museums around Ireland, but they're privately owned, and they can vanish tomorrow. There's no television museum or any interest in television, and you look at the way that television has shaped Ireland since 1961 and before. No one cares. But it is what it is. See you all later. Crumpets are ready. Alright, Grid Runner, take it easy. Good night. God bless. US Navy 1943. Alright. Okay. Yeah, no, local authorities aren't interested. As I often say, if it was kicking a ball over the bar or speaking a bit of Gaelic, they'd be all over you. Or multiculturalism or some nonsense. But, Ireland is far more than that. But they don't recognise it. I'm involved with transport heritage in Ireland in a small degree as well. And I understand how difficult it is on many fronts with preservation or anything like that here. It's just no one is interested. It's terrible, really. But that just seems to be the way we're heading as a society. No one is interested in anything, and then all the kids are being brainwashed into thinking that the world is going to end next week. Alright, Peter, we'll say good night to you. Thanks for watching. Good night. Thanks, Peter, for tuning in. SP600. Okay, well, I know a fella that has an SP600. Chop down on that loan. Has one. George Donaldson knows the fella I'm talking about. I was down in his place. I visited him when I visited George there. I don't know, when was it? February, was it? I stayed the night down in Athlone and visited the two of them. Rowney Mooney says, I think everyone is interested in preservation eventually. Once they get to a certain stage in life, or when they see the finished product, problem is very few want to support it at the outset. Well, that's true, yeah. Because when let's just take a bus example, alright? Let's say you have 600 of one type of bus, and they all come off service and no one's interested. There's loads of them kicking around, and then 10 years goes by, and 590 of these things have been scrapped, and there's 10 left in terrible condition in the ditch, and then all of a sudden people are running around going, they're not interested. Oh, these must be saved. It's probably the same thing with this as well. You look at the interest now in dual standard colour televisions. That wouldn't have been, you go back 20 years, go back 30 years, 20 years even, to, let's say, 2002. Let's go back to 92, when there probably would have been ads in the back of television magazines saying, I'm closing down my TV shop and I have 4 Thor 2000s I want to get rid of. Someone come and take them away for free, and people would have went, there's loads of them kicking around still. You look at the money a Thor 2000 I get today. It seems to be the way it goes. Kilsob Brackley. How are you, John Joe? I'm not so bad, thanks, Kilsob. How are you? Thanks for tuning in to the old Chatteroony. But that's the way I see it anyway. That, no one's interested in preservation until it's all nearly vanished. And then all of a sudden, this must be saved. Which is a terrible shame. But I think that's true for most aspects of this sort of thing. So there's nothing to listen to on Medium, man. I have to say, I do quite like the Dutch Pirates. It is a Frog 7000. Nick, how's the Dynatron? The Dynatron is, well, it's got to live to see another day anyway. I have a brand new tube lined up for it, hopefully, cross touch wood. But I should have a brand new CRT lined up for it. The one that I stuck in it to get it going has massive scratches on its face, like, and it's not, it's a 50% job, and I need a couple anyway. So I came across a chap that has a few of them. At least he hope he does anyway. So yeah, it's alright. I'm running on panels out of the other Dynatron at the minute. So there's a problem with the line time-based panel, which is here beside me, looking very forlorn, and the decoder panel. But we should get it going. I have actually had a full colour picture on it, and it's promising looking. It is promising looking. So it'll definitely live to see another day. It's just a shame that it ended up the way it did. Scandalous, really. But it's a nice set, and for a Dynatron, it's sensible. It's a 22-inch. It's not too heavy. Of another Dynatron, which of course you would have seen in the videos, the 26-inch one, which I made videos about years ago, which is in a solid, I think it's mahogany or teak cabinet. Fucking thing weighs a ton. I can't move it. I'm very tempted to move it on to someone else if they're interested in it, because it's unmanageable, to be quite honest with you. I mean, there's no chance of lifting it on the opener. It's a ridiculous thing. So if anyone was interested in it, we could do business. But no, it is a nice television, and sadly the remote control was cut off at that as well. But I'm no interest in a wired remote control anyway, so I did away with that, and I hardwired across the relay that it operates for the standby on and off. Oh no, all temp fake. No. It's probably a pile of shit and it'll blow up next week. The Northern Rambler is in the shop as well. Welcome to the party. There's a good few of you knocking around here now. How are you finding me? Are you finding me through YouTube notifications? Or is someone spitting all this up on one of these Facebook things saying that ojnoj is live? Have a look at them. I'm just curious because I noticed that some of the people that comment in the chats never comment on the videos, which is fair enough. But it's just, from my point of view, it's just, I like to understand, if I can, to paint a picture of where people are coming from in the greater scheme of things. Bit of deep fading on our friend from Holland. He's faded into nothing there. For those of you who don't know, I have a certain affinity with Dutch pirates because I was born in Holland. I think it's Cody's glass. Oh, here's another one, 1655. Popped up in your notifications. YouTube notifications, alright. Yeah, I probably would say everyone is the same. That anyone that's got a radio handy, just an interesting RF experiment, maybe. If you have a HF radio handy, right here, right now, I'm listening to a Dutch pirate. He's on 1655. If you have a radio to your hand, tune into 1655 and just tell me what your S meter reading is. Just curious to see if I'm on a skip or a double skip or if I'm just outside it or whatever. To see if someone in England can pick it up clearer than I can. 1655. Now, S meter readings are a bit relative, really, but I'm about a 10 over 9 on this. Just curious to see if you can hear me. Good evening, Sean. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for tuning in. Sean, of course, I repair these BS35. So I'd like to know how it's going, Sean. 1655. 1655, Mr. Kraken. Audio wall comments. The videos are always great. You should do more live specials, as the interaction is always great and gives people a platform to talk about all things radio. Well, Graham, just for the crack, Graham, you don't have to. If it's too much effort, don't bother your ass. But if there's someone else that just happens to have a radio beside where they're watching the video, fair enough. I'm just curious because I find that some of the Dutch pirates really steam in here, but they mightn't be as strong in England because it could be skipping over you, if you know what I mean, with the ionosphere. I read years ago that people were picking up Radio Caroline really strong on the west coast of Ireland, which I thought was interesting, and Luxembourg, whereas people on the east coast and Dublin and that had great difficulty. So there was obviously a skip going on there, you know. So just curious to see, is it the same thing with this? We know this is some lunatic in Eindhoven or somewhere where he's probably knocking out 500 watts with a pair of 807s or whatever you call them, valves. And it's interesting. I actually find some of these stronger than the medium wave commercial stations from the UK. Right, so there's Mike Gardner has nothing on 1655 in Aldershot. He's in a flat and he's now external antenna, which is probably a bit of a setback, but a bit of a handicap, as they say. But it's just interesting though, because Aldershot is a bit closer to Holland than I am here. Just interesting. We can leave it on low, but I have to be careful of the copyright nonsense. I mean, they've gone to hell on it. This thing with the copyright on YouTube when it comes to videos, and music in videos, and I know a couple of more famous, prolific YouTubers like Shango66 or whatever you call them. I've mentioned this, that nobody is going to listen to the song on my video to get around the copyright. You're not going to listen to Jimi Hendrix, Hey Joe, on a fading up and down shortwave signal through a phone on my video. So why are they hammering us with copyright? We're using it as an example of, this is the reception that we're getting with this. But it's not to actually listen to the song. I think they're very unfair. Going well and set up back in tip. Yet to set up area, but will very soon. I'm glad to hear it's working well. If it goes on fire, that's not me. No, I'm glad to hear the radio's working well. I have to say, of all the Bush BS35s I've had through my hands over the years, and of all the valve radios, domestic tabletop valve radios, it was one of the best performers ever. And one of the reasons why is because, and I explained to Sean when he told me that the radio had been used in the kitchen for say 20 years or whatever, and then had been put away into the hot press for 40 years. And the reason why I believe that it was such a good performer is because it wasn't left in the damp shed, and the damp didn't get into the IF coils and the RF coils and feck up the queue. And I think that is a big deal. I remember speaking to a gentleman at the MVCF a couple of years ago, who said to me, half these radios don't perform as well as they do because they've been left in damp sheds all their lives. After their useful life of 10 years or whatever, they were fecked into the coal shed or whatever, and the damp got into them. And even when they're done up and you do all the caps and the resistors, all the bits and pieces, the RF gain never comes up because the Q is fecked up with the damp in the coils. And I believe him. I do believe him. I never heard a radio like that one. And that was a radio that was one owner from you and dry stored. So it just goes to show what a difference it makes. Northern Rambler isn't here not in Northern Ireland on the 1655 as well, with a good setup. You see, now this is interesting, because I would have thought he's on the west. He's probably on the west. I don't know where you are, but I'm going to say you're on the west coast or the east coast. I thought you would hear whatever I'd hear. Radio culture can hear the S6. But it's scratchy as hell. It's fairly scratchy here too, but I don't know if that's down to all the electronic nonsense I have here or whatever. It's saying 10 over 9 on my S meter, but S meters are relative too. Noel Conway comments, back in the 70s, we used to pick up Caroline in Galway like it was a local station. There was also a station called Seagull, which was another pirate around the same time. I heard of Seagull. I believe they might have been a Dutch station. I believe they were a Dutch ship-mounted station as well. Yeah, because my mother used to say that to me. Caroline was very, wasn't very good at all. It was there, but it was always in the noise in Dublin. But she went on a holiday to Sligo, and she brought a little, portable transistor radio with her, and she couldn't believe that night when she went over and tuned in, it was just beamed in, real strong. So it was obviously there was a skip, that Dublin, the east coast of Ireland, just wasn't in the right spot. I often find that with 80 metres locally here in Ireland, that I can work daytime, yeah, or nighttime, daytime. You could work a fella in that long, and he'd be 20 or 40 over 9. You try to work a fella in Cork, a little bit further outside the circle, you wouldn't hear him. It's obviously the same thing as well, you know, it's just going up and down, but it's just the angle of attack to the ionosphere or whatever. Radio Cruncher has them an S9. It's S9. Yeah, it is S9 as you had it in a attenuator then. That's interesting. So, the chap in Northern Ireland can't hear this station at the minute. Radio Cruncher, I'm not sure, I think, are you down, you're Middle England, I think, if I'm not mistaken. You haven't S9 anyway. I haven't. Now, to be honest with you, I'm not looking at the yes meter on this, telling you that it's 10 over 9. It's, you know, talking shite. I don't believe this thing. They might have run round you, I'm not sure. I think you know more about it than I do. Was that when Caroline finished and got the Ross Revenge? The Me Amigo sank them. You're in southwest England. Right, okay. Yeah, so on the straight line, Graham, you'll probably be closer to me. I'm East Ireland, you're West England, so southwest England. You'll be kicking out in the little foot, so you're probably in the straight line closer to me. Right down the bottom. Yeah, you're well south of me, alright, yeah. You'd be south of Cork even. They're down near Land's End. Nice warm bloody weather. No hard winters. My outfit lives in England, but he lives in Leicester. It's not as pleasant up there. Alright, here's another one for you then. And you used to have your radios and they're playing along. Do you hear this chap on 1635? Anyone that has a radio and is playing along at home, have a go at 1635. See if you can hear him. It's quite an interesting experiment. So Graham could hear them, S9. This thing says S10 over 9. Then my friend in the north couldn't hear them at all. Our friend in Middle England couldn't hear them. So what does that tell us about this Dutch fellas? We're obviously on the skip. Chap in the north might be a little bit close one. Chap in Middle England is a bit close one. Graham's further away from him, and I'm further away, and we're hearing them. So it's obviously going up and down. I do find this fascinating. You know, you could do a lot of RF experiments and propagation experiments using a live YouTube video like this, where, you know, we could, say if we're doing amateur radio, well, I suppose they probably do, but, you know, but with medium wave, and we can work out propagation, you know, like, I can hear Radio Caroline. I know lots of people in England that can't hear Radio Caroline day or night. Radio Cruncher can hear 1635 at an S6. He calls it a racket. I know, I love that squeeze box. You've done SWL light. It's interesting, isn't it? Who's the chap that makes he used to do the live videos? DX Commander. He used to do the live call-ins or whatever you call them. It was interesting in a way that, you know, we'd be up on 80 metres or whatever, and there'd be lads calling them from, say, 20 miles down the road. We wouldn't be able to hear them. And then there'd be a chap, you know, up in the arsehole at the north of Scotland, and he'd be steaming in, you know, 5 and 9. And the fellow who was close could have been down 100 watts, and the fellow up in Scotland could have been down 10. So there's certainly no measure for it all. I have to say, I do love these Dutch pirates. They're a bit of crack. You know, some nights you tune in, you hear them, and they're pissed, you know. The Dutch are the fun lot. They certainly are around. I've been over there quite a lot. Obviously, my mother lives in Holland. So they'll be backwards and forwards from time to time, and I have to say, they're a very laid back, relaxed, very genuine group of people who have absolutely no regard for radio regulations. They're into pirate television and all sorts over there. The chap in 1655 seems to have come up there with the noise a little bit. He sounds better now. There's only the two of them tonight. The fella that was on 17:30 last night was really steaming. He must have been knocking out some serious power. Yeah, he probably doesn't think anyone's listening to him. What else does be a bit of crack is sometimes you hear them, they talk among, obviously all these fellas know one another. You know, Holland is a small country with a lot of people, but it's still a small country. And they obviously know one another or whatever. And sometimes they start talking to one another over the air. So one fella is monitoring the other broadcast, and then he's saying, and they start having a bit of banter between one another. Giant's Causeway. And you're not hearing them. Now that is strange, isn't it? Like, I'm sort of in the northern half of the east coast of Ireland, if you like. I'm not a million miles away from Giant's Causeway. I'm probably 70 miles south of you, if even, no, probably less. As the crow flies, maybe 60 miles south of you. And you're not hearing them. And yet he's steaming in with me. Isn't that just a strange thing here that's working out? Yeah, it is a lovely part of the world, alright. What's he saying?
Noche por aquí a Radio de mi amigo from Northwest di Olanda, scoprendo musica olandese all'Allemania di Europa. Of Radio mi amigo apenstaartje hotmail.com en al in Olanda, Northwest di Olanda, dus scoprendo musica olandese.
I think he does call himself Radio Amigo. Radio D Amigo is what I heard. That's what it sounded like to me. I doubt he has a Yagi down here at this kind of frequency. It'd be fucking huge. I'd say it's just the way, just the way the ionosphere is. A Yagi at 1635 would be some machine. Certainly interesting though. This chap's on 1635. The other one was on 1655. Oh yeah. Never mind. Yeah. No. He's way down there. Imagine the size of the road there, yeah. Leyland 680 to Torna. No, they're way down, interfering with like marine comms and stuff. They're a bit of a shower really at times because they you know, you have Valencia and putting out weather forecasts down around that end of the band. And then you've a load of so they're gas lads. What about these lads playing music on 80 metres? I've heard a few of them lately as well, which is a bit nuts. I think what's going on is our boys are dying and the HF rigs are sitting in the gaff, and then some dodgy young fella goes in and finds the HF rig and decides to pull up to his phone and play a load of music on it. By the way, no one copped what the side light was off. One last shot. Maybe someone new will realise what it's off. We're on 16:35. Oh yeah, sorry, no, there's one on 16:55 as well. That's Telstar. Playing. If you make it out. No, that's not Telstar. Back down to 16:35. You feel it left out. You haven't any earliest, but you have transistor radio, don't you? Oh, listen to this though. They're playing a Dutch version of Fiddler's Green. It's Fiddler's Green. Fiddler's Green was a song the Dubliners done years ago. But it's in Dutch. With the wind and the rain to sing me a song. Wrap me up in the oilskins and blanket. That's gas. I know the way around, yeah. Sure, my ma used to bring over the fucking Dubliner records to them and all. They were mad after the latest releases in Ireland. They used to obviously come out here before they come out over there. Play me squeeze box as we sail along. With the wind and the rain to sing me a song. Wrap me up in the oilskins and jump on. And more on the dockside I'll be. That's gas. I never knew there was a Dutch version of that. Probably get a copyright strike for that. That's unreal. The Germans love the Irish music as well around the air. Yeah, the old Irish show band. I went to school and the principal of my school, Roundy, no one else from outside Ireland would know this. And Roundy mightn't know it either. The principal of my school was Tony Keeling. I'm not going to say any more. Roundy might come back with an answer for who Tony Keeling was. I've something very important to do. Too damn hot up there. It's not that hot here now. How hot was it there today, Graham? Well, SB, it could be now. I'm not going to split a kilohertz between you. You know, once a kilohertz between friends, it could be. You know, I had the front end of this thing is like as wide as a bar door. I think it's 13 kilohertz or something, or 17 kilohertz. The filter is on there. It's ridiculous. So I can't tell you exactly what it is. You know. Mounty, did you figure out who Tony Kanan was? I was aiming at you, but Tony Keelan and the Graduates was a show band. So, and their biggest hit was Tony Keelan and the Graduates, and their biggest hit was the Crystal Chandeliers was their biggest hit. 23 degrees today. Still 17 outside. I don't know what it is here. It's probably about 14 or 15 outside now, to be honest. Roundy Mooney selected, yeah, he's heard of Tony Kane and the Graduates and his famous song, the Crystal Chandeliers. Tony's still kicking around, by the way, Roundy. A very nice man he was too. You know, I wasn't too keen on school, but I have to say, you couldn't ask for the better man to be a principal in school. He was very good to a lot of people. Probably a lot of them that didn't fucking deserve it as well. I have found that the Dutch Pirates coming on a lot better than the UK stations, and one is probably maybe this phenomenon of the skip, where at night, like say this is England, this is Holland, this is Ireland. Holland seems to come in this way. Maybe the UK is coming in this way over Ireland. But also, they're up a little bit higher where they shouldn't be, just outside the medium wave band. And there's no co-channel interference for them. So that could be the other reason that they come in so well. Because I don't think they're knocking out the same kind of power as, say, Absolute Radio or whatever, I mean, I'd say the the best most of these boys do. Some of them might do a kilowatt, you know, but probably most of them are doing 500. Some of them sound really well. So your man's still on 1655. Yeah, he is, but he's dipped down. He's about an S6, S7. Bit of fading going on there now. They're playing the Mamas and Papas, so I better turn that off. They're very hungry for money. Or at least their grandkids are. She died, she choked on a sandwich. Or so to say. Seen a documentary there a while ago. Her and John Denver were doing heroin in some hotel in London before she died. You don't look at John Denver and think heroin addict, you know. Lowney Mooney comments, I presume they don't get the same 909 echo in the UK. 5 Live with multiple transit that we do, but we do. I get it here too, Roundy, yeah. So, fellas in the UK listen to 5 Live and the sports results. We don't listen to it here because actually I should probably do that. Let's go down to 5 Live. The 909 one, yeah. 909 might be a bit of a bother on this because of the IF. Let's see. Turn her down. 455 IF, so yeah, I don't know, that's not a war. Do I get 1548 gold? I do. I do. Yeah. I don't know what that whistle noise is beating something else. It's definitely there. That's 1540. I also get 40. Is it 1458? Oh no, that's been replaced with something. It's Manx Radio on 1368. Steam's in. The engineers at Manx Radio have to be commended on running an absolutely excellent service on AM. Whatever they do there, it always sounds great. I think anyone can agree. Thanks, Graham. Thanks for tuning in, and it was a pleasure to have you in the chat. And I wish you all the best in the future. I'll catch you again. Thanks very much for tuning in. Thanks, Ryan. Now, any more radio stations anyone over in the UK wants me to tune in and see if I can hear? I know there used to be a One Mile Wonder up near Newcastle, but I don't fancy me chances of picking that up. So if Energy is on 1440 now, what is the radio station in Monaghan? There's a country and western radio station in Monaghan that it's a pirate radio station, and they've never been touched all these years, but I just can't remember what frequency they're on. I think it's around 8 something, 850 or something kilohertz. Can't even know it off the top of their head. I would ask Roundy Mooney, but he's down the wrong end of the country to know about them. There's not enough. There's not enough left, Mike. No. These bloody radio stations are getting. You never heard of them? Yeah, too far. You're too far south. No, the old medium wave band is getting a bit thin on the ground. But one thing I would say, and I shouldn't say this, but I'll say it anyway. When all these heads turn off in a couple of years, it's going to be up to us to take over, right? And I don't think I can see a situation arising where no one else is going to have interest in the medium wave band, except for the likes of Caroline. You might have the opportunity arising where heritage licenses will be issued. You know, so you've Radio Caroline, that's sort of a heritage thing going on at the minute. You know, you could see a lot more of that happening in the future because the authorities and people at large aren't going to be interested in AM. So the commercial value in it is going to diminish. So it's going to be cheaper to get licenses. And I would like to think that, you know, we will get to a stage where you can rock in and get a license to have a 1 watt transmitter on medium wave, and you pay 50 quid a year or something. That's what I would like to say. I know that is the case at the minute in Holland, and there's hundreds of them. And most of them are amateur radio fellas that are into playing music and were in pirate radio in the earlier days. I know they've gone out and they can get a 1 watt license, and there's loads of them in Holland. So it would be interesting to see if it opens up that way for us here. But either way, I think act now and apologise later. Rowney Mooney, they've tried to kill off 252 for years. It will go in time, but it seems safe for now. Yeah. I know they'll get it in the end, though. Tony Magnier is in the chat. How are you, Tony? Greetings from Cork City. Energy on 1440. They call themselves the Grey Two Away. Oh, do they? Alright. So it shows you. Right, okay. Now, where did we hear that before? Yeah. Some other station on 1395 and another on 1494, all from Dublin. Is this now, Tony? We can have a tune in and say. Mike Gardner, where are you? That you can only get 252 when conditions are right. Radio, Star Radio, absolutely right. Star Radio, that's the one. What did you say to me? 1494. I've nothing only noise on 1494. 1495. Oh yeah. Yeah, something there right now, S9. Wasn't there earlier on. Can you confirm that station is from Dublin as well? I'm interested to hear that there's so much pirate radio medium wave from Dublin. As I say, I'm not actually in Dublin. I'm outside Dublin. Northern Rambler is here and Bob Dylan on 1494. Alright, let me go back up there again. No, Don't know if now the computer of an S7 or 8 noise here, so it's probably the computer's upsetting things. SB says DRM isn't going to take over. There's no market. No, DRM is fucking dead. Forget about DRM. That's a no-go. And virtually no receivers either. Yeah, absolutely. They've been using it on shortwave for 30 years and it still hasn't gone on. Absolutely correct. I think they're still using it on shortwave to a certain extent. Now, I think for redistribution on shortwave, it could be a goer. You know, I'm Radio China here in Ireland and I want to, whatever. I want to transmit it for redistribution, it could be a goer. But for commercial, for public use, no. Absolutely, Roundy. And that could be good news for us as well, with regard to, I don't know, maybe we could get back analog television on the UHF at some stage. You know, allow 5G and 6G and whatever the fuck could probably take that over. The BAI have no interest in it. It seems medium wave only exception being Spirit on 549, but even then that's being off a while, so they are in breach of the. Yeah, I've noticed that Spirit, they were off and then they were back on and now they're gone again. Wonderful signal where I am. Not much interest in their content, but good signal as a benchmark. So what's the crack? What's the right? So you have Spirit, they're licensed for 549. Say tomorrow I come up with a business model or whatever, with a few bob. I say I want to set up a local radio station. What's the crack? I go into the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland. Here's what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I have A, B, and C. What are they going to say to me? We're not giving out licenses for AM anymore, or will they? I mean, they're what's the crack? I don't know. How would that conversation end? Just interested to know. Radio Rock Revolution was the 1494. Yeah, we didn't get them. We're on 1395 now. I'm just interested to hear what that's supposed to be. Possibly you may hear some Dutch stations on 1395, depending on what conditions are. I have heard Dutch stations before during the week. When energy wasn't on, I used to hear Dutch stations on that frequency. Alright. Can I hear 1440 here? Yeah, I can. Yeah, I had it on there earlier on. It was a bit shit in the noise, but. That's 1440 there now. Roundy, you're right about the 405 line transmission. Yeah, no, that's the thing that's going ahead. And I know a couple of the people that are involved with that. And they're still working away on that in the background. It's not low power either. It's going to be decent power when they get going. And there is a fringe chance that one might be able to receive it on the island of Ireland. We're going to work on that. And I'll get into that at a later stage. But yeah, no, that's still going on in the background. They did have a few vision tests a few years ago, and it should be interesting. But I know they are beavering away in the background. They're not saying much though, and that's fair enough. It's a minefield as well, of course. You want to do this thing. But of course, here's something for the amateur radio people that are still in the group here today. Something that Roundy's after reminding me of, mentioning the 405 line thing. Recently, within the last year or two, we have been given over basically the spectrum from, I think it's 35 megahertz all the way up to, is it 70 or 80 megahertz? In different blocks with little bits in between, ring fenced. But as a radio amateur person holding a license and all, what is the story with me broadcasting, transmitting, should I say, 405 line vision with my license as it stands? Does anyone know? I do intend to make formal inquiries about this. And there again, things like this YouTube live stream could become very useful if such an instance was to happen. Ofcom aren't taking on any more applications for medium wave. Well, there's a legal thing in itself. I have, for example, I have a 50 kilowatt, let's say 50 watt AM medium wave transmitter for 1395 kilohertz, and I live in Scunthorpe, and I want to start up a commercial broadcasting service. And this is my only means of making a living, is starting up a commercial broadcast service. I live in a caravan at the side of the A52 or whatever, right? It's Scunthorpe, or I don't know what road was from Scunthorpe, right? And I have this transmitter. I want to earn a living for myself. And I start transmitting because I attempted to go about the right means. I went to the Ofcom website and it says, we do not accept applications for medium wave broadcast licenses anymore. And what am I supposed to do? I have to live. So I start transmitting anyway. I don't think anyone gives a fuck what you do with medium wave anymore, to be honest. Tony Magnier can hear a load of Dutch players right now above 16 and 11. I don't know what station 1440 is. Oh, someone said it was Radio Energy, the Dublin one. Tony Magnier, lots of Italian RIA medium wave transmitters going off September 2nd. Lots of Spanish medium wave stations drastically reducing power to save on energy. Fuck. Just goes to show what's going on in the world. Well, I don't know. Longer distance medium wave reception. I have to say, I won't miss all them Spanish stations at the bottom of medium wave. I mean, they drown out everything, including Radio Caroline. So we won't miss too many of them. What I miss is the Dutch medium wave stations that went off the air about 6 or 7 years ago. I can remember one that was called, had some stupid name, but very simple name, like Dutch Radio Gold or something like that. And what they used to do was, it was a fully automated station. I can't remember what frequency it was on, but it was up the top half of the medium wave band. But they used to play one popular 1960s song, and then one Dutch traditional music song, then another popular. And this was the way it went on all the time. And I used to have an Eddystone in the old house that I lived in. I had a Eddystone 740 set up at the bedroom window with about a 50-foot long wire. Good air to used to come in lovely at night. And me and the wife to be used to lie in the bed listening to this music. It was great. Very fond memories of that radio station. But every second song was Dutch squeeze box song. Then in 1960, so you'd have like some fella, then you'd have Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones, then another, then Let It Be by the Beatles, then another squeeze box song. It was a wonderful station, and sadly missed. But and I haven't had any joy of picking up any of these ultra low power medium wave stations from Holland since. Trevor is in the chat. Trevor, I mentioned in my video this morning about my frame area, and the inspiration for my frame area came from you, Trevor. So, and I gave you a shout out. I hope you got a couple of subscribers out because you very much deserve them. You're a gentleman, and you made me feel very welcome when I went to see you. And thank you very much. And I'm glad you're here tonight with me in my little workshop here in Ireland. Far away from you, but not too far away either. So thanks very much. Wenlock TVDX is all the way from the other side of the world. So it's good morning. Good man, Tony. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. Trevor's stuff is well worth watching. A lot of QRM here from Trevor anyway. SMPS. Even the loop is not helping much. Trevor, have you had any joy listening to any of the couple of stations that I'm listening to? If I go up into the Pirate AM band, above the top end of medium wave, I'm just wondering, can you hear any of them weekend? We've had a little bit of an experiment here, and it turns out that someone about 50, 60 miles north of me can't hear the Dutch Pirate that I'm hearing. Someone down in the south west of England can hear them 5 and 9, and someone down in Cork can't hear them at all. So we're just curious. We're doing sort of a propagation experiment using these Dutch pirate radio stations. Right, the Chapman 1635 is signing off for the night, which is fair enough. They're an hour ahead of us. 1655. Can anyone hear him? He's an S7 according to this thing, which I wouldn't. Now, Trevor says, thanks, John Joe. I love your videos, and let's hope we meet up again in the future. Absolutely. Yeah, we will, Trevor. No, I certainly hope so. I hope you'll come over to me. I definitely want to get over to you. Mrs. John Joe wants to see Scotland at some stage. So we will certainly be making a trip, and I hope to see yourself and your good lady wife in the near future. By the way, Trevor, that beautiful television you gave me, the V330, has pride of place in the sitting room, although it hasn't been powered up in many months. But I'm going to bring it into the shed here and make a video about it and the modification you were telling me to do across the dropper capacitor. I think it was a 68k resistor you said I should use. We're going to put it on the bench and do that in the near future because I want to use it again. The line isn't overly objectionable to Mrs. John Joe, so we can use it. 1655 is... there's a lot of stuff I have to come in there, so I'm feeling close to the screen to see it. The old papers aren't as good as they used to be. Kilsop Brackley. I worked for Chris Carey in the container he had in Upper Rathfarnham, investigating an interference problem with his FMTX. Pretty interesting. Trev, no, not good tonight. I've heard the Dutch guys many times, but crap tonight. I'm sorry to hear that, Trevor. I know you're in a bit of a built-up area or whatever, so it's not a help. Northern Rambler, my loop has a detached wire, so hearing the Dutch stations now. Oh, okay, fair enough. Rayborn, up Stockton Lane, at Kisbob. Oh, built up there now, not many fields. Oh, you obviously know him, so yeah. You were up there. Now Conway's away to bed. Good night now. Thanks very much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. It's great to have you on board. Yorkshire Rose. Well, welcome aboard, Yorkshire Rose. I was wondering when you turn in. I know you always tune into my videos, and I'm very grateful for it. So thanks very much. It's good to see you here. And you're looking so well. Northern Rambler, 1655, about an S7 up here now. It's just going into the fade with being now. Sort of fading in and out. Roundy Mooney. Edinburgh, well worth a trip. It is. 1645 coming in quite well here. That's 7. Tony. Peter Joyce is here, but at what cost? Well, Peter, only you can answer that. I'm just about to make out 1655. Can you hear 1645? Let me see. I can. I'm very tempted to reach out for to hit the switch for the computer to turn it off, but I might hear it better. But I probably shouldn't do that. No, that 1645 is coming in according to now S numbers, of course. Well, SA, I'd say. The one good thing about the Spanish and Italians going off air is more transatlantic DX. Exactly. Might start investigating those beverage antennas a bit more intensely, you know. They could be more interesting, especially when all that crap goes off the air. Hearing 1645 and that's 5. Right, so that's Tony. Tony's hearing them in S7. I'm hearing them in S7. SA. You're hearing them in S5. You're hearing them in S5. You're only 50, 60 miles north of me. I don't know where Tony is. But it's interesting, isn't it? Just the way the old RF pattern spreads out. And I don't think it's as simple as they make out in those nice RF diagrams. I think it's very subjective, really, you know, in real life terms. Someone said something the other day about the Yagi antenna. It's all subjective mathematics. You know, the spacing of the directors, the element. It doesn't really matter. Which I always thought was very important, but it doesn't. It affects the polar diagram, but it doesn't. I don't know. It's all over my head, but it's interesting. Tony is in Cork. Okay. Oh yeah, no, we said that. Yeah, no, we know that. Yeah, no, you're right. Sorry, Roundy, you're right. You did say that. Yeah, Tony is in Cork. So Tony's in Cork, and he has He has a S9. Northern Ramblers up the north, he has a S7. And I have an S8. Now that doesn't make sense really when you're thinking about it, because Northern Ramblers is going to be closer to Holland than I am. And Tony's going to be even further away again, and he's getting a S9, so it must be on the skip that way. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Yeah, Tony, a lot of it is theoretical. It's I know it affects the. I think if you have a dipole, and if you have your first director at least half a wavelength away from your dipole, and your reflector at least half away from your dipole, I think after what you do with your directors after that, I don't think it's going to matter a whole lot to what the area says, what the dipole says. There's another day out on 1690, alright, Tony. I'm not hearing him at all, Tony. Yeah, good point, SB. What are you boys using? I'm obviously using this Frog 7000 tonight. I could bang up the R600, but there's no point there. Even on paper, they're more or less the same. The R600 is slightly more sensitive, but I think there's fuck all in that, you know. Right, but I don't know what BRB means, right? Right, has that got something to do with going up a 60-foot pole on top of a 3-story building in Gardner Street? BRB. Be right back. Ah, fair enough. Is there that in it? Right. Nothing on 690 here. Right, Trevor. Can hear 1655 on my Icon 7400, but only just. Let's just go back to 1655 for the crack. Trevor, listen to my audio. How would you describe that against yours? The Kraken is a 1,000-foot ASL. Oh, now I'm jealous of that. That's a place that stake a 2-meter antenna. Now it's weird that Tony and Cork can hear a fella on 690. Now what I would do is, Roundy Moundy, do you have access to a radio? Just because you're in Cork as well. I'm just wondering if you can hear what Tony can hear. Because I heard nothing on 690. Nothing. Northern Ramblers uses a Wellbrook ALA 100LN loop, which is quite good in LF and MF. Receive is a JRC NRD 353 at the minute. I believe that's a very good rig. I have a bit of JRC equipment coming to me at the minute, which I'm very pleased, well, bittersweet pleased about receiving. But we'll get into that in a later day. But I know JRC made a very, very nice equipment. So I believe the 353, I think that was their last analog receiver, if I'm correct. Trev, oh dear, mine is clear but very low. Alright, I don't know which one of us is getting the stronger signal strength, so obviously I have the computer and shit going here at the minute for this live stream nonsense, but yeah, the old Rod Pentoad's not performing. I know that's full again though, so I'm a bit disappointed at that. But then again, the noise could wipe it out. With the TRF, she might not like the noise. All out in the shed. Alright. You're getting Radio Caroline good now on the TRF. Alright, just it's all about experimenting here. We're having a bit of fun tonight with the radio, right? For the crack, I'm gonna tune in to Radio Caroline 640. Trevor is getting it good now. I know where Trevor is. I'm not gonna say, but Trevor can say if he wants, right? But I know, well, I can say he's in Scotland. I think that's fair enough. I'm going to tune into Caroline and see if I can hear it as good as he can. Just for the crack. 640. Tune up the pre-selector. Oh.
This one's from Moscow. Then you have Warriors, and that's 30th September. I'm from it, this is close now.
How's that sound, Trevor?
If not, I'll catch you instantly, but meanwhile, thanks for your company.
How's that sound, Trevor? Right, I'll leave it at that because I know someone will think that the old copyright thing will go nuts again. I'd say it's stronger here. Alright, fair enough. Probably as the crow flies, you're probably closer to them than I am, but then again, would I honest fair here? So, no, maybe not. No, that's a lie, Trevor. I'm closer to Radio Caroline than you are. No, it's skipping over me and I'm bouncing back down into you. That's what it is. No, sure, yeah. They're in the river, Blackwater now. That's down there, Kent. I'm in well, just north of Dublin, let's say. And then you're way up in Scotland, which is probably, you know, northerly, probably another 150, maybe 200 miles north of my location. So yeah, that's what's happening. It's skipping over me and going to you. Now this is weird. We're getting this thing now. So some of us are hearing stations and some of us aren't, and you're seeing where the skip effect is coming into play. No, Trevor, I'd say it's further to you than me, definitely. I just have that feeling, and I think it's closer. You know, if I was a very snazzy YouTuber, I'd be able to whiz up a fucking Google map and do things and do it. But no, I have a feeling. No, I tell you what, you have to be further away than me, definitely. Sure, where I am, I'm nicking the ball to Wales, so I'm not. Couldn't be further away. Caroline is about 15 dBs over the dying. Mike Gardner, I'm about 30 miles from London. Yeah, flat. Lots of noise. Yeah, sorry to hear that. That's not great. You want to look into one of those loops. Trevor does excellent videos on loops, by the way. My loop video today was a bit shit, but it was us proving a point or whatever. Northern Rambler. Oh, you have the RSP1A. Love it, but I'm an analog kind of guy at heart. I don't know what an RSP1A is, so I'm gonna say yeah. Daniel from ZL4VR. Good morning from New Zealand. You're the second person who's watched my videos from New Zealand. That's amazing. That's one of the things that blows me away from this whole thing is that I've had fellas from Sri Lanka, New Zealand, America, USA, Canada, Brazil, all sorts of these mad places commenting on my videos. This little Irish fella in his shed. It's incredible. Trevor has wide-banded the icon. I'll give you a shout on medium wave, but don't tell anyone. Yeah, I fucking love it. No, good man, Trevor. I don't think anyone will care anyway, but I'll be listening for you. Send me an email first. I want to know if I can hear that transmission for sure. Good man, Trevor. Trevor's a bit of a pirate at heart, you know. The loops are the business. The biggest strength is that they are directional, absolutely. And you can null out the crap. Yeah, and I showed that in the video this morning. They're great. Now that loop that I made was my second loop that I've made. The first one was totally shit. The second one was a bit better. It was kind of based on a design that you did, Trevor. Well, I don't know if you come up with it or not. Where I just had the loop as itself as a tune circuit, and then had a pickup loop inside about 6 inches into the sides. So it didn't detune the loop itself. It didn't load it in any way. And then my plan was I have an order from AliExpress. It's like a little loop receiver amplifier board thing, which I'm going to stick in the middle and see will that amplify what the tune circuit loop is. And it could be interesting depending on how it goes. But it is good. Hearing 9 TXs on long wave, including both from Iceland. Oh Jesus, they're doing better than I do. I can never hear the Iceland ones. Now I don't know if it's just the local noise or whatever, but I don't get them. Even when I went to Iceland with my D808, whatever makes it, not Texan, whatever crowd. I barely heard them on that. So that's interesting. That is interesting. Let's just see for the shits. Because this thing doesn't cover the full long wave band. It only goes down to 250, I think, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, no, there's no point using this for long wave. Michael Tranfield's in the chat. Nearly missed it again. Well, you're here. Thank God. Michael, you're a gentleman. One of the old skills, Michael. A proper television man. Right, lads, I have something very important to do, and I'll be back to you in a minute. I'll just have to say if Mrs. John does alright, so I'll be back to you in 2 seconds. And then we might, seeing how well this is going, and the few of you that have HF receivers in the house, we might just have a little tune around for the crack to see what else we can hear. But this Frog 7000 is working a lot better than I expected it, given the condition that it's in. So I think we're gonna have a bit of fun with it. Alright, give me 2 minutes and be back here. Good luck. Now lads, where are we in the chat? Well, as far as Trevor says, the loops are the best in the noisy area. Goodness knows why is so bad tonight. I should have tried your Eddystone before shutting up the shed a few minutes ago. Indoors now. I know what I'm glad to hear you got the Eddystone going. I don't know if you had any joy yet with that other stuff I gave you. Was it heat kit or one of them? Anya says live near a major hospital here and the noise is unreal. I got lovely, yeah, no, I can believe that. The Germans perfected valve sets back in the days of both RF and in terms of audio quality. They are the ones to get if you can of a lovely East German radio here. Nothing special now, mind you, compared to some of them, but single-ended and whatever. But still a wonderful performer. And yes, I would agree with that, really. The Germans really did. But I was trying to work on some of them, though. George can't hear that because he hasn't got a radio plugged in. Well, that will be an issue, George. Tony, thanks very much for tuning in. It was a pleasure to have you on board the chat. And I hope to see you again soon. Thanks very much. And don't work too hard tomorrow. Hearing both Icelandic longwave stations through the one on 198 is stronger. The one on 189 is stronger here. It usually is. Yeah, I don't hear them. No. 189. I think maybe Radio 4 probably drowns out. I might probably have selectivity issues more so than sensitivity issues here. SB says to Tony Magnier, I did have a little Eton E5, which was great, but it gave up the ghost just after I came back here, so I've just been using Web SDRs. Oh yeah, very useful machines. Not very convenient, I agree with that, but better than nothing, absolutely. If you want to hear something on shortwave. George Christophe, I can't hear anything here because I said that. William Fenton's in the chat. Well, welcome aboard, William. Can St. John Newfoundland still be heard on medium wave? I believe it can. I've heard it mentioned recently. Last time I heard it was in the 90s on an ICF 2001. I think I have one of them somewhere. On a 740. Wonderful machine. I have two of them here. Along with an ATU kit from Practical Wireless. It's a bank holiday Monday tomorrow for you boys. Oh, well done, lads. Right, huh? It isn't here. She has me on a cup of coffee now. She has to have to behave himself. Little keg thing's empty, by the way, so it's no use. Mikael Hansen. Michael, welcome aboard. In February, I think I picked up Caroline and 640 in southeast of Denmark on a 56 radio with apparently original tubes but recapped. This was after they went to 4 kilowatts. Oh, well done. Glad to hear you. I well believe it. It's certainly not impossible. Received on the built-in ferrite rod, yeah. Only just received as I was able to null out more powerful station on the same frequency. Okay, very good. Trevor says Eddystone is going great. Not got near the heat kits. Landed a mint TMB 727 and 24. And also doing a 405. Yeah, I've seen you doing the 405 on the PC, and that's been very interesting. It's still over my head a little bit, but maybe someday we'll get into it. Does that mean to tell me you've got another TV24 from when I seen you? You had a TV24. Have you got another one? I was actually tempted to ask you for that one that day, but however, I didn't want to be greedy either. Ray Bourne is quoting to William Fenton. That's fair enough. Still transmitting AM. Just about the second times day or night, I should say. Michael Tranfield, power cut, working from battery and inverter. I don't know who you are pointing at that. Ray Bourne, VOCM on 590 kilohertz and VOWR on 800 and 940 hours. There's a few more as well. I've probably heard these, but I've never gone to the effort of actually verifying them. You know, like I would come out here sometimes and I can't sleep at 6, 7 in the morning. Turn on the radio for the crack, and you know, first of all, you notice that the static sounds totally different than nighttime and daytime. The radio itself just has a different sound when you switch it on at that hour of the day. And you hear these stations, but you just hear music. I'm just spinning through. I never stopped to. It's very, very likely that I have been listening to transatlantic stations. Another 24. Oh, well, Trevor, I shouldn't have felt so bad now about I wanted to ask you for the one that you had. I'm glad to hear that. It's in safe hands with you, Trevor. For the man that was cutting down his 405 habit, you're not going about the right way. But I'm glad to hear that because, to be honest, Trevor here is one of the people that the 405 line community needs. I don't think there's too many would argue with that because Trevor is one of the few people who was hands-on back in the day and who knows what he's talking about. I through all the years of looking at the forums and reading shit and whatever, I would say that there's 3 405 line experts, and I use that word expert, you know, I don't use it too often, right? There's 3 of them, and Trevor is one of them, right? And he'll know who the other 2 I'm talking about are. But definitely, I would not like to see Trevor give up the old 405 line TVs completely, because it's great to see him and the likes of him putting videos up. Newfoundland, yeah. Now I've got their what you call it, their version of Shanwick, alright, on HF. But I haven't heard them on medium wave. Michael Dranville needs to pedal faster. Rayborn, a friend of mine in St. John's, his dad was engineer on one of the radio stations there. A local lad giving up, getting out of the hobby. There's a few of them alright going around. There's lads giving up on television collecting. I can understand that space is a premium, and I'm lucky enough in a way, but I can't really take much more, although I'd love to. Not until I build more sheds anyway, and of course that costs money, and the whole thing is money, and you don't get anything back. And you feel as if you're saving, you know, the country's heritage, and you're getting nothing for it. And you know, at times you think, what the fuck am I bothering with this for? I could have one nice television in the house, 1 or 2 nice radios in a shed in the garden, and I don't need to do anything else. But, you know, it's hard to give up to. SB, I remember in the 70s hearing loads of North American medium wave stations. VOCM, BKVO, VJON, VJCX, WABC, WCBS, WRJ, WRR, WINS, etc. Loads of QSL cards. I wonder would any of them give out QSL cards now if you bothered. Probably not. Gander. Sorry, yeah, around now the Gander was. Newfoundland. Yeah, it's at the edge of Newfoundland, isn't it, Gander? Funny enough, no one was able to tell me what the sidelights were of. Yeah, is there anyone in the chat now that can answer the question? You'll notice that the two of them are opposites. Like a pair of these. They're not off a bus, a car, a motorbike. So what are they off? Train? No, they're not off a train, no. They're actually quite specific. No. If there was anyone here that was into the kind of thing that these are off, they'd know straight away. Like that. Right? Because they're probably looking for the set. Trevor says, join the medium wave circle. There is still plenty of medium wave USA stations around, and my mate Son Ayrshire has a 1 kilometre beverage. I remember you writing about that years ago, Trevor. About this big long beverage antenna, which is obviously pointing west. I've been doing a bit more research since I did my video on a so-called beverage. I won't call it a beverage, but it was, it was what it was at the time. Just messing around, and I can remember you were saying that he got massive DX from the States. That was actually one of the things that inspired me to have a go at pointing a long piece of wire in a certain direction. Something which I'd love that. I will revisit the beverage thing again. And I know, Trevor, you've done an awful lot with the frame aerials. I don't know if you've seen my video this morning, but I did a little video on a frame aerial. What I knocked up with 10 turns, about 4 foot across. Pick up wire about 6 inches in from the main wind, if you like. It worked very well. So, but I'd like to expand on that further, because I think frame aerials, if you got them honed in right, they would probably be an awful lot better than a long wire. You think what a ferrite rod can do versus a long wire? If you were managed to tune that frame and the pickup not to load it just in the right spot, everything just has to be in the right place. I think you could have something very special indeed. It's amazing how it just comes out with a noise at times and then back into the noise. It's coming in quite well there. We'll go up and see if the old Dutch lads are still at it.
And good evening from the English speakers. Dit is de Radio de Amigo from Holland.
Radio something de Amigo Holland is what he said there. What is it with Dutch fellas and pirate radio? It's just incredible.
Radio de mi amigo from Northwest di Olanda.
Northwest Holland.
Buenas noches and yo mucho feliz por Carlos from Valladolid. Yo mucho feliz, mucho lejos de aquí la casa Holanda.
1655 is still going flat out. Not hearing that else. Just those two.
Natuurlijk voor alle buren, vrienden en bekenden. Voor alle de luisteraars, alle amateur, niemand uitgezonden.
The other good aerial that works well is an EWE. What's that, Trevor? A ferrite loop antenna works well too. I signed it off, I think. I signed it off.
Good evening, good evening, this is Radio de mi amigo, and thank you very much. Very good, very good, and you. Thank you very much, DX. The UKDXR. Thank you very much. This is Radio de mi amigo.
How long does it take someone to say goodbye? No matter, Mr. Blackie, good night. Thank you for tuning in. We're always glad to have you aboard. Thank you very much. Maybe he did, Roundy.
Thank you very much, all the people from the belt.
Thank you well. Thank you well, sir. Doc. Well, let's jump up to 1655. Well, that's a song that I used to love listening to. One of the first cassette tapes I ever had was one by the Beach Boys. It was belonging to my mother. I found it in the house. And one of the songs on it was The Cotton Fields. It was a cover that they did. Now, obviously, Creedence Clearwater were famous for the cover of that as well, but I never heard this cover before. Unless your man gone off on 16:45, yeah. He's gone. Gone off. Free the same. Say what you like about the Dutch lads. From the top end of the media may be very boring without them. And I think that we should start following in their example and start making things a bit brighter for ourselves on the medium wave man. There's far too much negative waves about this whole thing, you know. Oh, there's nothing to listen to. What's the point? Whatever. No one seems to care anymore. We're here. A lot of the people here have the technical ability. Why shouldn't we not utilise what others would discard? Goodbye, Keltab. The EWE is only a few metres long and terminated to ground at one end and directional. That sounds interesting. Let's look that up. All the people. Ofcom will be a long time sending me the card unless they send the both. I know, they're lovely people. They're lovely. Not if they want anything for anyone that pays an amateur radio licence. This beside someone who has a naughty switch mode power supply. Right, he's gone as well. 16:55 is gone to bed. 16:35 is gone to bed. What's this? Someone has woken up on 16:40. Can anyone hear him? So what are they going to do to you, George? They're going to lock you up for life. They're going to give you a slap in the hand. Tell you, bow boy, don't do it again. Right? It's not like you're some fella with a wheeling a knife around in London on a scooter, robbing other fella's scooters, all the mad shit that goes on there. Hit the sack, Trevor. It was good to have you on board. Thanks for calling in, and I hope you have a good night's sleep. With regards to your good lady wife, and I'll catch you in the near future. So I'll get in touch with you anyway. Alright? Big Boy, take all your radio gear. If you were robbing scooters at gunpoint, you'd only get a wrist slap. Yeah, well, that's it, yeah. What you do is, I don't know, set up the transmitter on a far away place from where you are. I don't know. There's ways around everything. I'd be very tempted. I shouldn't be saying this. No one cares. No one cares. Medium wave's no good for 5G. No one cares. It's not worth a fake. Michael, how's the TV trade treating you, by the way? Did you get fixed up with the Walker television set? Let's see if I can hear anything else interesting. You know, you back from the holidays, George, or Michael, should I say? Good man. I like a bit of traditional Chinese music at night. Trevor says, Judy is working as a carer now and on night shift tonight. I'll care to make chicken bites for you the next time you come. Please do. Absolutely lovely. Oh, them chicken samoukas. Lovely, lovely stuff. Best meal I ever had. Thanks very much, Trevor. Tell Judy I was asking for her. George said, it wouldn't be the first time I have maybe hypothetically had some part in some FM transmitters around London in the past. I could see you with a lot of that fucking. I could see you in the 90s acid scene or whatever you call it. Pew, pew, pew. Don't know, I just can see it. You know, I don't know why, but I just can. You know, pew, pew, pew. Open the top of a flattened cricket board or something. Pew, 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 pew. Dancing around with an FM dipole. Wonderful stuff. Your man does great videos and that. Your man Ringway Manchester. I don't know if anyone here has watched any of his videos. He's a huge YouTube channel now. He's growing up there now because he does all the video editing and the whatnot. But he covers all that stuff. He's able to get all this information. People are obviously sending him stuff now because he's becoming well known. But he's very interesting, and he covers all these 90s FM pirate stations and all. You gotta give it to Radio China. I mean, they have some money, and they're not afraid to throw it at the HF. I mean, like, they transmit 5 or 6 different programs on different frequencies on different bands on HF at the same time. There's no one doing that anywhere else. I mean, they aren't afraid to splash the cash when it comes to HF. I don't know why, because there's only gobbers like us listening to it. But fair play to them. People give out about there's nothing to listen on shortwave, only China. But I mean, if it wasn't for the Chinese, there would be nothing to listen on shortwave. More or less. I quite enjoy this kind of music. Wouldn't be the first. I had trouble with Offcam some years ago in London for streaming LHR and LWR ADC live on the internet. Nats, who were in charge of it, were totally supportive of me doing it. Now that's the thing, you take a crowd like Offcam. Now I can't really speak authoritatively because I don't live in the UK. But you take a group like them who would hone in on someone like you doing something like that, which is completely innocent, and they want to stand on your head. And yet, 5 miles up the road, there's probably a load of fucking drug dealers on top of a block of flats advertising drugs on 94.9 FM, 94.9 FM, Cricketwood Flats, phone away 7237 for cocaine. It's all wrong, isn't it? It's all wrong. The reggae scene and dance music before Kiss FM became licensed. Oh yeah, Kiss FM, yeah. We had a similar version of Kiss FM here, yeah. So, you must get a communications receiver. But the trouble is, where I live is that I'm 12 meters above sea level. I'm going to take that as. and surrounded by hills. So anything, listen, has fall out of the sky, you're never gonna hear. Yeah, but HF medium wave isn't like that. It doesn't work on. It doesn't really matter how high you are. It all comes in from the sky actually. It's only when you get up into VHF and that, like I wouldn't want to be wanting to get into 2 meter amateur radio where you're living. But for HF, you're going to hear that in the Royal here. It doesn't. I don't think altitude has any great bearing on it. I'm be interested to see what other people in the chat have to say about that. But that'd be my take on it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Bang up a bit of wire. You'll hear what you want to hear. That's what I'd say. I'll be more concerned about local RF noise. And where you're saying you are, it sounds like you're in the middle of nowhere, so I think you'll be good. That's a bigger deal. No, you're not meant to rebroadcast anything. But I mean, you can tune into these web things and whatever and hear whatever he's sending out, you know. Yeah, there are whole servers streaming ATC now. So you have all these live things, you can see where the planes are and what they're saying. Now, radio China are so prolific. If I tune around another bit, I'll find a different type of traditional Chinese music on shortwave. It'll make it louder to me now. There you go. Bit of fade involved though. I wonder, can we hear the buzzer? Buzz for the crack. I said coming in loud and clear anyway.
La canción se cantó a dúo masculino y femenino en la película y la versión que estamos escuchando
I don't know what half these stations are. I'm listening to that, but there's a great radio website called Shortwave Info that you can look them up, and I keep them as a shortcut on my phone, so you can look them up. So this is the website here, right? Just for the crack here, I'll show this. See if I don't know if this web camera will resolve it. It probably won't. It's not as good as the phone. Anyway, you have shortwaveinfo.com, right? What you can do is you can type into it. So at the minute I'm listening to 9645. I've no idea what that is. It's not speaking English. So if I type in, I mean, you go onto it, it tells you, you know, what you want to do. So you type in, find the stations or whatever. 9640. Enter. And it tells me that I'll have to try that again. The internet's not too good here either, which isn't helping. It's one of two things, and they're both transmitting in Spanish, so it's hard to tell which is which. It's either Radio Habana, Cuba, or Radio China International. Both are in Spanish. I'm going to say it's Radio Cuba, just for the crack, but it's hard to know. Although according to Radio China, according to shortwave info, Radio China is the most likely. It even gives you a signal bar on knowing the azimuth and what way they're pointing their transmitting areas and all. Which of the two was likely to be the strongest in your receiving area? I'd say in China, so it probably is China. But that's an interesting website for anyone that's into shortwave listening. Now, I better read a few comments here. VHF and up is useless here at home because I'm on the side of a hill made of ironstone. Ooh. HF though was amazing. Oh, well, maybe your hill is acting as a big reflector. Oh, bugger. That went a bit wrong. I'm 12 foot above the sea. Oh, Jesus. I hope there isn't a tide. They were going to do me under the wireless telegraphy act, bastards. But that's on my side and invited me to their next meeting with Ofcom to put my case. But Ofcom threatened them too. Jesus. Yeah, absolutely, Roundy. 100%. Noise is your biggest factor. Yes, indeed. But try and find one with UK ATC. Oh, yeah. Oh. If you can't hear the buzzer, we might get in trouble. Yeah, absolutely. RCA is half a megawatt, so it might be them. Yeah, most likely is Radio China. Good website though, isn't it? That's the next issue. Not helpful, but all the power transmission lines around us. You have them around you. That doesn't help. But I don't know Yorkshire Roads, but I'm gonna presume you have at least a couple of radios of some description that have shortwave capability. Stick 30 foot of wire out your bedroom window or whatever, and just see what you hear. If you can hear that at all, you're gonna hear it 10 times better with a proper ground and an RF comms receiver. Right? That's all I can say to you. And go from there. Anyone gonna want to suggest a radio frequency I should tune into before I tune out? Let's see if we can hear that on the top band. I doubt it. Oh,
Security from the boy could carry one of the aerosol ones and you just attach it over your valve and just let it pump in this white gold. Fortunately, I've never made it to use any of them.
well, the top band action there. Wasn't expecting that, especially with the amount of noise in here. George Mustafi says there is always a way to get reception, even in the crappiest location. You just have to think outside the box. For example, put a wire in a plastic gutter as a loop, and it will do wonders. Yeah, you're right. There's always an answer. Doesn't matter where you are, you'll always find a way. Definitely.
Somebody might offer. He said, I'm a pension. I can't really afford these sorts of things. He's doing the policy bit and everything, hoping. I think that somebody might offer to, sort of fund him a bit. Yeah, just go to it.
George loaded up the cast iron gutters on 20. I'm still going into Australia. It's amazing what you can do. All the people that say it can't be done, they don't know it can't be done until you try doing it. And it's amazing what you can do. You know what they say about the man who wasn't told it couldn't be done? He went and did it, didn't he? Right, lads, I'm going to sign off, I think. I think we've gone on long enough here tonight. We're into the small hour, so I wasn't expecting to go on this long as usual. But it's been a long and interesting night with you all. There's still 23 of you out there watching me now, which is amazing. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in tonight. It's been an interesting night indeed. Probably one of the best lives I've had. These, by the way, are for the pre-force tractors. So I bought these for a Ford 2000, but Ford 2000, 3000, 4000 pre-force tractors, mudguard side lamps. They are pretty unique and hard to get hold of. I'm glad that you all enjoyed the chat. Ray Bourne, I'll be on to you in the near future, I hope. But I do want to get down to you and have a chat with you. Hopefully on camera, all being well. Good night, Michael. Thank you for tuning in. Maybe, Michael, you might get to the Goblin as well. I don't think it's a million miles from where you are. It'd be good to meet up with you if you do. Good night, George. Thanks for tuning in, pal. And thank you to everyone else that was watching. It's been an interesting night, and I hope to do it again soon enough. It'd be good to have, if we could do this maybe, even if we'll make it a regular once a month thing, because it's good not only for you to interact with me or whatever, you're watching my videos and all that kind of shit, but it makes a little community out where all the like-minded people are in the chat and they're kind of talking among one another as well, which can't be a bad thing. So So we'll catch you again. Thanks very much for tuning in, and I'm gonna sign off. I'll find the mouse. And it's been good. We'll party on at a later stage. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And I don't know what else to say. These are all great for watching me. I can't believe how popular this thing has become in the last couple of years. It's mind blowing, really. It's nothing but good. Alright? That's it. Who we got dust in the chat here before I feck off? Michael Dranfield says, good night, George Christophe. It's been fun. Ray Bourne, no probs. Good luck, Ray. Northern Rambler, go crack. Good night from Prague. We must catch up again. We should do. I'll try and get in a bit sooner next time. Well, I was a bit late with the notice. I'll try and give a week's notice at least the next time, with a couple of reminders throughout the week. My name is Andy. Good night, Andy. 5 on 8. 5 on 8 kilohertz maritime information. What, do you want to tune into that now? That's alright. Let's see if we can. Alright. The crack. That's before we go. Like 5 on 8. Probably won't get on down there with the noise around here. I know a lot of noise down there. However, shooting up 5. I can hear the carrier, but that's it. I can hear something, but I don't hear nothing intelligible. Enjoyed it. Thanks, Daniel. How long have you been in the shadows? Hey, someone was hiding in the shadows. Night, Alright, good night, lads. Thanks very much. Good night and God bless.